It is Friday night. We got the Friday night crew. You're going to see Tom TD on most Friday nights during the season. Nick O's going to hop in when he can. You're going to see him every Tuesday night during the season. So we got two heavy hitters, specifically you, Nick. You're a heavy hitter. You barely fit into that XL shirt. But what's going on, guys? Happy Friday to Nick O and to Tom.
Happy Friday, guys. Ready to rock and roll tonight, man. I like the late night Fridays when I know I don't got to get up before the sun. So I'm going to get on as many of these as I can, too. But otherwise, I'm going to see you next Tuesday.
What's to you, Tom?
Just happy to be here talking football. Had to adjust the schedule a little bit. Took a nice 2-hour nap before we got on. I'm obviously, out on the East Coast, so I'm tracking an hour ahead of these fools, but never.
Yeah, I need to move. I'll talk to your boss. I'm going to relocate you on the West Coast, so it works better for me. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll find a way to sweeten the deal. Anyways, we have Jay in here. We have Jonathan in here. Jay saying Stribling at 139 on Underdog. I actually think that's his ADP. It hasn't adjusted yet. He's been going around like 110. And that performance, I want to wait to talk about that because I have some news to get to. Maybe we'll talk about Stribling here. Tonight is the shit list. Essentially, the do not draft, more so the fade list. You would draft all these players at a certain cost, but not at their current ADP. I'm just going to host this one. I'm just going to be a host and, have my opinions on whatever they have, but it's going to be your guys' list. You guys both have 5 names plus 2 honorable mentions, and you guys kind of see eye to eye traditionally in fantasy, though. Both you guys. You're like kindred spirits.
We do. We bounce a lot off of each other, and now working together in Dynasty, that draft went pretty smooth. So we are, like you said, a couple of peas in a pod here.
Well, Tom, you think it went really smooth because you bet me. You have a side bet against your team, against our team, and I feel really great about it. You feel really great about it. That's what makes the world go around and what makes betting great. Can only be one winner, though. Only one winner, and it's us.
I mean, there is the slight potential for a tie.
Oh, yeah.
That occasionally does happen, but not expecting one in this bet.
We had a tie back in the fantasy basketball days. I ran a fantasy basketball league for like 13 years, and it was a points league, and like the average score of like an all-star would score like 75 points the whole week. So like the final score was like 2,800 whatever in decimals. We had a tie, 2,874 point whatever, dude. Crazy ass shit. We've seen, ties in fantasy like 134 is something, but like 2,800 points, like get out of here. So that's maybe, what? If that happens, we got to donate the money to charity.
I'm in. I agree.
And I'm starting a charity called the Professional Fanatics Charity.
Just hear me out. We take that money, get a bunch of rolls of nickels, and we go to the strip club.
Ooh.
Make it happen.
That's
still, in fact, a donation.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to like that too. I mean, you know what? They're pretty desperate. So, yeah, I'm kind of like a stripper. I'll take whatever. Give me $1. I don't give a shit. Anyways, we got a shit list to get to. And before we get to that, we have some news to get to. And one is pretty close to Nick O's heart. I got to hear his opinion on this. So let's get to some news.
Guys, I've got news. I've got terrible news.
Oh, so this is exactly what I wanted a vacation from.
There are 2 guys in this church that are gay.
Who's the other guy?
I don't get the joke.
Yeah, he's never going to understand.
What's wrong with that?
I love that.
Who's the other guy? First news item, Deshaun Stribling. Jay mentioned it. Great performance. Looked great. Stats were great. It's just a preseason game, but he looked like a real man amongst boys out there. Let's start with Tom, the unbiased non-Niners fan. The hype and the steam was building with Stribling ever since the Pearsall injury and the camp reports. But this was tangible. This was on the field. It looked good. Everyone said they overdrafted him, but he looks like a real monster out there.
That's the thing is you finally get to take that projected ability and the opportunity that should be there, and now you're pairing it with a talent. And I know that the Niners will get bagged on every now and then for their early reaches in drafts, over the first round. And you've got some ones that have looked like duds, but this early skill position player, I think the athletic ability and opportunity is got a chance to pair pretty well. And I mean, he fits a lot of just that style of what they want to do, and he can work that shorter intermediate target area, or he can work a little bit further down the field. And as long as Evans can stay healthy, I think it's going to, between Kittle and Evans, I think it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Stribling.
You buying into this, Nico? What do you got? It's your boy.
Bit,
it's your
man.
Niners.
A little bit. I'm excited, but I have to temper expectations. First round wide receivers in San Francisco don't have a very good history as of the last 10 years or so, and I'm cautiously optimistic. And the fact that it takes a Pearsall injury for him to move up tells me he maybe was where he should have been, and he's going to beat out Christian Kirk, but I don't know if he'd beat out a healthy Pearsall. And he's got a little polish to do on his route running. Everyone out of camp is saying he doesn't seem like a rookie, right? Like he's a grinder. He just works. He kind of sticks to his own and does his thing. So I respect that side of it. And he's just coming in and doesn't care about where he was drafted and doesn't care about anyone around him. He's going to play the best he can play. The Niners took a receiver out of Ole Miss last year too, and Jordan Watkins, and there was some hype around him early, and now you hear nothing about it, right? So I want to be optimistic, but once you got CMC and Kittle and Evans all out there ready to catch passes, I could see Stribling getting lost in some games. The hopeful side for me, the thing that I do like in this preseason game was it was all backups. You had third string quarterbacks starting that game, and Tennessee had starters out there, and there were a few guys that shined for the Niners as backups going against starters. So I'm a little hopeful in that regard, but the volume, I don't see that on a week-to-week basis, and Brock Purdy isn't going to be locked in with Stribling like he will be with a Kittle or a CMC.
Who was your defensive tackle that was just destroying worlds? Had back-to-back. I watched some of that game, and I forget the guy's name, but I think he's a rookie.
Yeah, he is. He was a late-round pick. It's escaping me right now. I'm sorry. My headspace is a little convoluted. I had some stuff going on before I jumped on the pod. So trying to compartmentalize and put that away and jump in. I want to say Gerson or some Gerson.
Either way, monster. He had a play called back. One of his sacks was called back because of a stupid ass defensive holding or whatever. And then next play, he blows up a run play in the backfield. So
he blew
I
up
feel you with the headspace thing, man.
Yeah, he blew up the highest paid left guard in the league and got after the quarterback. So that was super exciting to see. And it's one of those, again, it's preseason games. I don't put a lot into it. I actually take more from beat writers and reports from the combined practices, right, where the teams are working together against each other in kind of some staged or some setup scenarios. And that's the stuff I kind of take a little bit more from what guys are doing there and who's lining up with the ones in those joint practices than I do in these preseason games.
All right, that's the Stribling breakdown. We have one more to get to. Actually, we have another one, a bonus one. But that same game, Carnell Tate. Now, I'm not looking too much into preseason stuff. I watched this game pretty closely. It's one of the games I did focus on, and mostly because the Titans were playing everybody. And not the numbers of Carnell Tate, but I don't know if you saw it, dude. He got your fifth round rookie cornerback, manhandled him on the goal line in that play. He looked small out there. He didn't look explosive. Like, if they're going to line him up at X, like that's the plan, because you're going to have Wandale in the slot. You're going to have Ridley playing the flanker role and kind of moving all over the place, and Ridley will be involved. If they're just going to line up Carnell Tate, who is he's not an aggressive player, right? I think one of my things I hated about Tate, I had him at 6 coming out of this draft, which everyone thought was crazy, was he doesn't seem to have that dog in him. I know that's a stupid thing to say. He didn't have a lot of like plays on tape where it was like he was like the man amongst boys. He was wide open all those times because it's Ohio State, and the NFL is different. If they're going to use him as the number one receiver, as an X receiver, good fucking luck. Like Pat McMillan could do it because he's a monster, but like Marvin Harrison struggled with that, and Marv's a much more physically gifted player than Carnell Tate. And it just was watching, and I was like, dude, he's not getting open. He's kind of just going through the motions. And Cam Ward I'm a Cam Ward guy. I know you are, Nico. I think you are, Tom. Dude, he is erratic as shit. Like, he just throws off his back foot. He has no touch on the ball. It's just, I think we might have been over our skis on Cam Ward. And if Cam Ward doesn't take that leap and they're going to play Carnell Tate in a static X position, good fucking luck, dude. It's going to be a bust for sure. Even in the 6th round, not touching Carnell Tate. And I've been on record saying I love this spot for him because the pairing, in theory, works with Cam Ward's aggressive nature, right? He wants to throw in double coverage and tight windows. But Tom, what do you think about Carnell Tate, and then what you saw with Cam Ward?
I mean, pretty much aligned with a lot of that. He did a lot of his work winning down the field on a little bit deeper of a average depth of target in college. But again, a lot of it was he was being that man amongst boys, and obviously schemed by Ohio State, but he was manhandling. He was being the more physical guy with these smaller college corners. And there is clearly going to be an adjustment period just off of this first preseason game. I mean, there wasn't a large sample size out there, and it's one of those things that's easy to knee-jerk react to, where it's like, oh, he threw up a goose egg and X, Y, and Z. But like, if he would have went out there and went, 5 for 82 and a touchdown, we'd be having a totally different conversation right now. So it's one of those things where you can't take too much from it, kind of like what Nick was saying, based on preseason games versus a lot of the beat reports and whatnot. But the role that he is seemingly painted into, there's going to be some growing pains, because you're going to be the guy that is attracting these top corners, and coverage is going to be rolled your way. And if you're struggling to deal with press man, and you're a physical guy and you're not going to win with speed, it could be a long road. And same thing on the Cam Ward front. Like, erratic is a great word to use, because he was
very erratic. Erratic. It's just I love the mentality. I mean, we want the mentality for fantasy. I love the kid. Like, I love Cam Ward's interviews. I love everything about Cam Ward. And I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. I think that the year 2 breakout, like, if he has a rough year this year, I'm not going to write off Cam Ward at all. Like, he's a super young prospect. Before I get to you, Nico, last thoughts for me on, we were talking about, how I didn't see him really moss people or just play aggressively in college because he was always wide open. This is the opposite. Like, Ohio State, what he was going up against when he was at Ohio State, I know there's some tough competition, but it's never the level that he has on his own team. But in the NFL, he's a boy against men, and that's the problem. If that's the case, and they're not going to use him creatively to get him open, like, he's not going to win a lot of these matchups. Good luck. They're going to try to take him out because Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't really scare you. A lot of people think Calvin Ridley's really dusty, but we'll see. Nico, what are your thoughts?
I got a few on this one. I did watch this game in Prysock, so I don't get to watch as much college as I would like. And once the Niners make their selections, I start digging, right? I watch lowlights, I watch highlights, I get excited about my team. And Prysock, the corner out of the 4th round, going against the number 4 overall pick, has a wingspan of approximately 12 feet, I want to say. And that's exactly why he was able to reach that ball and knock it out. I don't know that a smaller corner, a guy with a shorter wingspan, would have. He didn't have the absolute best position. He made up for it with reach and got the job done. And I think part of it is Tate didn't come back to the ball as hard as he could have. And that's what you're saying. Some of his aggressive route running isn't quite there. He kind of waited for it to hit him as he was tapering off the 90 rather than coming back and making it an 80 or whatever degree you want to call it. So I like Tate, the little guy out there, Wan'Dale, man. I cannot believe how small that dude looks. So,
dude, I know Tate looks small. Wan'Dale looked like a fucking pipsqueak, dude.
In case you're
like, I don't know if it's the jersey color, because we saw him in New York and he's just the same size, right? He just looked extra small.
He does. And that's exactly what I said to my wife last night watching this game. I'm like, look at this guy. He looks smaller than before. Like,
but he's a feisty motherfucker,
He is.
And he's pairing with Dable.
To your point about, the getting manhandled there, if he had fought for the ball, that's probably pass interference with what I saw. But he wasn't fighting, and it's like they're going to give the benefit out to the aggressive player that was actually going for the ball. Like, the defender was playing the ball more than Carnell Tate. And, like, that's just concerning shit to me, man. I'm not trying to shit on a guy that I've been shitting on for a while, because actually, Storey loves Carnell Tate. But I was more bullish about Carnell Tate's this year drafting him because I like the landing spot more than he did. But we'll see, man. We got one more to talk about, though, that I added on. I saw this right before I came on, and it's Jordan Tyson. Me and Storey talked about this yesterday, the hamstring injury again. But there's a new report that's out that he's getting he's going to, like, a couple specialists. Like, we don't want to hear this shit, man. And with the history of Jordan Tyson, now he's going to get multiple opinions on this hamstring injury. He already missed on some OTAs. Now he's missing out the whole preseason. Like, I'm going to be drafting Tyson because I think he might fall to, like, the 9th round. Like, a rookie that has a history of hamstring injuries. If he's my bench receiver, I absolutely love it. But he was going at, like, pick 63, 65, a little bit after Carnell Tate. But this is, like, code red, right? This is awful, Tom.
you need to get him in contact with Christian Watson.
Are you out?
Stat.
Could his legs be different lengths?
Potentially. I didn't take a measuring tape to him, but
that's how they fixed Watson, right? There
was an imbalance in the hamstrings. Yeah. But no, back on Tyson, like this has got me nervous, just because like now you're missing all of that necessary time to acclimate, to learn the offense, to get in rhythm with Shuck or whoever potentially is going to be the quarterback there, and losing those valuable reps, I feel like just delays the timing of the impact that he can make. And if he's there in double-digit rounds, I'll take a flyer and I'll have some exposure, but he's not going to be a guy that I'm like looking to target like I was prior to, because he was kind of on that, flex with benefits range, like maybe a little bit more. He'll give you some spikes, but would feel relatively comfortable flexing him, maybe a second wide receiver if you're deep at running back and took tight end early. But like, I don't know. I think this just bodes even more towards Olave at this point, and maybe a little bit of Juwan Johnson.
That's where my head was at. I think people are sleeping on Juwan Johnson. He's having a really good camp. He's historically performed, even with struggling Saints offenses there. I think Kamara is cooked, and I don't expect a lot out of him. So I think the short pass game is going to end up to the tight end. So it's one of those for me. It's Olave and Johnson are the big winners. You hit that nail on the head.
Like, I was not drafting a lot of Olave because he goes, pick 33 on Underdog right now, and it's a half PPR format, which, is not Chris Olave's bag, right? He's gonna score some touchdowns. He's gonna have quite a bit of yardage, but I like him in PPR. But with this news, I am comfortable taking Olave at the 2-3 turn. Honestly, like, and Tyson comes back, they're gonna probably slow play it a little bit, which shouldn't hurt Olave too much. And I'm gonna bump him up 5 spots, honestly. Like, I think I want Olave over Devonta Smith now. Thinking about it, like, it's just so safe. Everyone's about the Saints offense. I'm a little lower on the Saints offense, but he's going to have 8 to 9 to 10 targets a game. I mean, with Kellen Moore's offense, we know the ability's there. It just makes him a safer pick, right? Maybe not increases the upside anymore, but there is some risk of Jordan Tyson really becoming the 1B here. And if he's out of the equation, at least to start the year, it's an uphill road for a rookie if you miss out on camp. I mean, we've seen this historically. So this is great for Chris Olave, and definitely might hurt Tyler Shuck's upside a little bit, because if you take away Tyson from this offense, what do you have? Like, Vele's okay. Like, you mentioned Juwan Johnson. I like him, but is he a game-breaking tight end? Absolutely not. And Etienne's okay. He's better in fantasy than he is in real life, right? Etienne's not a great player. He's just a versatile player that can make some long runs, but maybe this is great for Shuck's rushing upside, right?
Definitely. And Nick kind of hit on it a little bit with the Kamara thing, but some of the reports that I've heard out of Saints camp to this point, like Etienne said that he was looking forward to having somebody to like share that backfield with. So, I mean, I don't think Kamara is just, going to go by the wayside. Granted, Kellen.
He's going to play. He's just bad. He's just bad now. It sucks to say. We love Alvin Kamara. He's made me a lot of money. That year he had 5 touchdowns in the championship game. Fucking just rolling in cash over here. Like, was it Donald Duck that used to jump in the fucking the money?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was me with Alvin Kamara. I had him in like 7 championship games, and that was awesome. But I don't know if that's going to happen again. I don't know.
I'll tell you what I do, man. 2 chicks at the same time, man.
All right.
Didn't Mythbusters try and prove that was not a good idea to jump in a pile of coins? I feel like they did, like, threw a dummy in a pile of coins and like measured how injured he got.
It's essentially like jumping on a concrete because they don't separate. It's basic physics. Silent, what's up, Silent? Thank you, man. Tate is from Chicago. I have no loyalties to the city or players, and I know a lot of people do. Nico, you're very loyal to the Niners, but not me, man. Not me. Legacy touches are a thing, 100%. Willis looked good tonight throwing the ball, and I'm surprised they let him run as much as he did. Achane had a lot of snaps as well. You know what? Would it surprise you if the Dolphins are like, we hope our players get hurt in preseason because we want that number 1 pick? Like, hey, Achane, break a leg out there, man. Like, this is not show business. They actually want him to break a leg. That's kind of dark to say, but they're going for this number 1 pick, and I think their roster screams number 1 pick.
It does. You got half of the salary cap of every other team. What are you supposed to do when you can only afford to buy half of a roster? It's going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's like, when they in the cooking shows and they let you shop and you get a budget. Like the Dolphins budget is like they have to get like ramen noodles and shit and try to make like this awesome steak with like veggies. Or it's like, here's noodles. We didn't have a microwave or anything to cook them. It's just the noodles uncooked. Shout out to Jonathan. Appreciate you, man. And Jonathan's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. Let's get to the list. You guys ready for your shit list, guys? This is a big show. This is essentially 7 names each. You guys both have 7 names that you are fading hard. Almost a do not draft list because these guys aren't going to go any later. There's some big fucking names in this list. You guys don't know each other's list. I have the keys to the castle, as they say, and I have some pretty big thoughts on some of these names. So let's start off with the honorable mentions here, and we're going to start with Nick O. And let me get to it here. Nick O's honorable. He has 2 honorable mentions. First one, Colston Loveland, tight end 3, getting picked around the early 40s. Why do you hate Colston Loveland so much, man?
It's not the Colston Loveland hate. It's the guy I can take after him. I think outperforms him and Tyler Warren. And I'd rather wait and grab him or wait forever and grab a tight end because they're all the same after you get past the first couple. But what it boils down to me specifically in Chicago is how is there so much hype around Burden, who I know is battling an injury right now, but is expected to be okay, and Odunze, who I think is going to be the wide receiver 1 in Chicago. Cole Kmet's still on this team as a receiving option in 12 personnel if they want to. Ben Johnson wants to get creative with that. So it's more about the offense, the offensive styling. Johnson's high profile passing game. He hasn't leaned exclusively on a tight end, and the wide receivers there are too good to ignore, is how I feel about it. But TD, what's your take on Loveland?
I mean, I was kind of interested to hear this one, like when I saw that name pop up, because obviously we don't know each other's list, but the Bears are an interesting one. And I was talking with one of my buddies from back home, and we were talking about it and just how divvied up this Bears offense could be. And after just having that conversation, like I really see a world where we have different leaders in receptions, yardage, and touchdowns. Like I could see Burden getting, a handful of catches, Odunze leading the team in yards, and then Loveland, being the guy they use in the end zone. It's just like you're not going to get a real consensus off of any one of these guys until, we're 3-4 weeks in. Like, I don't think there's anything to this point that's going to tell us who's going to be the focal point of that offense or if there's even going to be one this year.
That's a good call, man, because you can say the same thing about the running back room as well. Like, Swift will have more yards. Maybe Monunga has more touchdowns. Like, Ben Johnson doesn't give a shit. The bottom line is he wants to win games, but he wants to put up a lot of points. But I like Loveland a lot more in half PPR than full PPR, right? I think Warren takes a step up in full, and Loveland is the clear 3 at half PPR because I think Warren's touchdown upside is like capped like 8 or 9, where you could tell me a story that Loveland scores 13 touchdowns this year, and Caleb is the top 3 in MVP in the Bears role, and I'm like, that makes sense. But to your point about the 3 guys, we have Vegas opened up the lines. All 3 of these players, Loveland, Burden, and Odunze, this is months ago, were all 799 yards. That was their total. So they didn't even know. But at that point, I like that makes Loveland almost more appealing. I think it's Loveland and Odunze based on price or position. Where that's why I've been fading Luther Burden. That's a fair one. You're not taking. Would you throw away ADP because Loveland goes 14 to 15 picks ahead of Warren. So obviously you want Warren around later. If they were both going back to back, would you still prefer Warren in full PPR over Loveland?
I think given Alec Pierce's injury and given Downs is now a little bit banged up, you got Jonathan Taylor to run the ball, but what else is that offense going to be? Danny Dimes was, I want to say, QB 7 or 8 through the first 12, 13 weeks of the season. They're going to throw the ball. That's Steichen's style. That's his offense, and you don't have the receivers there to do it. I think sheer volume alone makes me want to go Warren rather than rely on the Bears to have more than 4,000 yards passing for the first time in their history and feed 3 different receiving mouths, let alone Swift. And Caleb can run a little bit as well. So I think I'm going Warren. I like the touchdown upside in half peeper, like you said, with Loveland. But for my team build or for my mentality, I'm taking Warren, even if all things are equal.
That's fair, man. I mean, the Colts thing with Alec Pierce, but let's be honest, there's a Luther Burden major question as well. Now, the Pierce ankle surgery seems worse, but we don't know. It's in the Bears' best interest to lie about Burden's injury as well. They're not going to tell us he's out for fucking 7 weeks. So, like, Loveland, that's interesting on this list, but it is pricey. Let's get to Tom's first honorable mention. We have my boy, Travion Henderson, Hendy, who, you know what? I hate. I've been slandering this guy since coming out of the draft, and a lot of people have been fighting me about it, saying I'm an idiot, even though it's come to fruition with the playoffs and the snap share. I have been taking him recently in best ball because he's fallen to like the end of the 5th round, which in best ball I like it because he's a guy that's gonna have some spike weeks based on long touchdowns. But redraft, I don't think I'm gonna take a lot of Travion Henderson. Running back 20. Why do you hate Travion Henderson so much, Tom?
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, his value is definitely there in best ball because he's going to have those spike breakaway 60-yard runs, and he's going to have his big plays. But I mean, all the reports out of camp to this point are nothing really positive or negative about Henderson, but everything's been glowing about Stevenson. He's still been taking the lion's share of the first team reps and the early down carries and so on and so forth. I think we're looking at another similar year to last year where maybe he doesn't struggle as much, but like running back 20 is just too much of a price to pay for a guy that's going to be forced into your starting lineup where you have to draft him, and you're not going to feel comfortable week in, week out with what you're getting from Henderson. Like, you need that big play to break, and it's really just the alignment of like where you have to take him to get him. Obviously, in Dynasty and best ball, 2 different stories, but in redraft, for where you have to take this guy, baking him into your lineup, and just the very real possibility of you walking away with 3 or 4 fantasy points out of your RB2 or flex spot is nerve-wracking to me.
Story. I'm having a rough day. Nick, what do you got? You don't look anything like Story. He's got a clean baby face.
Yep.
I was thinking about something else. Sorry. What do you got?
So Henderson has to be somewhat appealing. We've seen him get traded twice in our dynasty league, and the season hasn't even started yet. So there's people chasing Hendo, man.
There's also people dumping Hendo, so it goes both ways.
He's a hot commodity. The reports out of camp are he still is struggling in pass blocking, and if he can't play third downs, you're not gonna want to start him in running back. You're gonna use him as a flex, upside flyer type of flex player, and that's not where you're drafting him at. You're drafting him as an RB2, and with the Ramondre Love that you're getting up there. The problem for me with Henderson is, like Tom said, you're going to have those weeks where he's way down. And what's crazy, though, is he was one of the best pass blocking backs coming out of college. Like, he was such a sure thing last year for me because he's a rookie that could hold his own and pass block. And somehow he forgot to bring that from college to the pros with him. And there's a world where he gets 25% of the snaps as your RB2. You lost your league if you're going to run.
I mean, that's a little crazy, but if you were to say 35 to 40%, that makes more sense. And I don't want to pull the comment up, but Ryan has a good call. I would just take Harvey later. Where I think Harvey has just as good of a chance to take the role as Hendy. Now, it wouldn't be as good of a role with what Hendy would get, but you got Dobbins is more likely to get hurt than fucking Stevenson. Now, Stevenson has a fumble issues. Why I was distracted though, guys, when Tom was talking, he's got this nice white hoodie on, backwards hat, like just very white. We're all just very white. You have this giant beard, and I'm wearing this fucking polo. I'm like, this is the whitest. We're so goddamn white.
Just accept the fact that you're white trash, all right? Take a look at yourself. You can't do backflips. You don't know karate. You're white trash.
You're white trash too, dude. Look at those shorts are white trash.
Do not call the shorts white trash. Dennis told me about these shorts, and they're not white trash. Look at this. Look at this. Look what I can do. What is white trash about that? Don't call me white trash.
I feel like if I had that kind of mobility, I'd be capable of pretty much anything.
I'm gonna wear shorts like that to the draft on Sunday.
Can either of you guys do karate or anything like that?
No backflips, no karate.
No, me neither.
You used to be able to do a
guys, we do have a draft.
I don't trust it.
We do have a draft. Our first draft, my first draft of the year, my first of 40 redrafts is our home league, which I don't know why you scheduled it so early. You wanted to get together. It's fine, but your league is super deep. I'm not really easing into this at all. It's just forcing right in there. and it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna take some selfies for you guys. Tom obviously can't make it because he's all the way on the East Coast. You should fly back, dude. Fly back, hang out with us.
Yeah, if it was in the cards, I'd be there.
He's going to surprise us. All right, let's get to the next name. We have 2 more honorable mentions to get to before we get to your guys' top 5. And this is Drake May for Nick O. So you're now fading the Patriots a little bit too. Super Bowl hangover. Is it the price? It's quarterback 3 because they're all in the same tier. What is it?
It's all of those a little bit. The Super Bowl hangover tends to be a thing. I'm a little more concerned with what we've seen the trend in the league lately is rookie quarterbacks show out their first year, and then defensive coordinators get a year of film on them, and they start learning how to stop them. And you saw Drake May and the Patriots walk through a very generous schedule last year. They didn't have a lot of tough matchups. I think their schedule is going to be harder. I think DC's got a year tape on May. And that second year slump, that sophomore slump that you see out of a lot of quarterbacks.
Can I just correct you real quick? This is Drake May's 3rd year. We always forget about his rookie year because they were that bad. But it seems like that was his rookie year, right? He got his lumps in his rookie year. I just wanted to stop you there real quick.
I'll give you that. Thank you. Sorry. The second, I see it as the second year of him being
full year. Yeah.
I see a world where he can regress given the tougher schedule. They want to run the ball. They're going to try and run and play defense. I like Vrabel as a head coach. It's not a very tough division. It's just the price that you got to pay for May. I don't think it's that much of a win. You're not going to get that many more points out of him than you will waiting and stack your running back in your receiver position and let someone else feel good about the maybe May, right? The guy that had a great year last year with an easy schedule.
Tom, does the addition of A.J. Brown kind of nullify what he was mentioning, the schedule, the hangover, all these kind of things, the full year of tape? Like, he was throwing to Kayshon Boutte last year and Hunter Henry and fucking Kyle Williams and just Pop Douglas. Like, now he has, as much as we want to rip on A.J. Brown for being a moron and reading books and being a little baby back bitch, that's what he fucking is, just crying. And Justin Jefferson didn't cry at all last year. He had a way worse situation. I digress. Sorry, I feel like Storey with what grinds my gears. But A.J. Brown's a fucking pro. A.J. Brown's elite. He demands coverage. It's going to open up the offense. Does that nullify it for you, or are you kind of on the same wavelength for Drake May?
I'm more on that wavelength with Nick than I am that it's going to nullify the whole situation. And it's funny that you brought up Jefferson, because in the same way that I was calling J.J. McCarthy a handoff merchant, I was kind of the one tooting the horn that Drake May was a bit of a schedule merchant last year. And the addition of Brown, like it's going to be interesting to see a number 1 guy there in New England, just because is May the type of quarterback that's going to lock into his number 1 target? He's never really had one at this point, so we don't really know that. Is it going to pull coverage, and is it going to allow guys like Pop Douglas, Henry, Boutte to be featured a little bit more and open up? There's a lot that goes into it, but I think I think a lot of it is just the schedule and, again, the tape. Now how Vrabel wants to run this offense. And, again, they want to be a run-first offense. And does May take a slight step back now as a rusher to be more of a, pristine pocket passer? And if that does happen, now, that rushing ability that gives him a little bit of a floor at QB3 might potentially not be there.
I feel you on all those points. Here's the counter. I'm just going to give you the counter because that's what I'm here for. I'm hosting the show. I'm here to kind of poke some holes in your points. Drake May had 4 rushing touchdowns last year. Now, Drake May is a monster of a man. He's not quite Josh Allen, but he's not Lamar Jackson. This dude's huge. And 4 rushing touchdowns was low. I think his expected rushing touchdown number was like 6.5 because he had a lot of opportunities. He was just throwing those touchdowns. We saw 2 years ago Bryce Young, and he didn't even start the whole year, have 6 rushing touchdowns. You guys remember that? Bryce fucking Young with 6 rushing touchdowns. So as all the points you made about Drake May and the regression and the schedule, I understand all that. But Drake May could just have 7 rushing touchdowns this year, 8, and he's still going to be a pretty elite passer. That will soften all of the blow we're talking about with, the slump and the defense is adjusting and, the harder schedule. Like, that's in his range of outcomes. I think 7 or 8 is actually not even that crazy for Drake May. So that's something we need to pay. That is why he goes quarterback 3. It doesn't seem like a guy's going to get hurt. He's bringing in A.J. Brown, all those things, but it's the rushing touchdowns and the rushing upside. It's not going to be 800 yards, but it's probably 500 yards and 5 with the upside for more. So I think that's where this take could go wrong, Nico, is if Drake May is just like They're in a lot of close games. He's going to have to be forced to run. You saw the Super Bowl. He was definitely a run-first quarterback because his shoulder was hurt and he couldn't throw. But that's where my thing is. I'm pretty much at consensus with Drake May. I don't want to reach on Drake May. I do have him number 3, but he's a lot closer to 4, 5, and 6 than he is Lamar Jackson, for instance.
No, I understand that, and it's honorable mention, not a hard take. So anything could happen, and your view of it is definitely a possibility. Just for me, it's a little rich for my blood for what I think I'm going to get in return. Taking him end of the 3rd, start of the 4th round.
Nick's sending messages again, his little fucking notes. No, man, I finished my 5 months. So the only beers I've been drinking are in the chugs. I went on a 5-month cleanse, and now I'm back. I'm back, baby. This is not apple juice. This is actual brewski. I told you I had a rough day. Not a rough day today. I just noticed that I was like irritable, and I wasn't too nice to Erica. I was playing Xbox with my boys earlier, and I was like being kind of an ass, and that's not me. And I've been on the show like 80 days straight, dude. I'm not sleeping much. I'm just like kind of stressed, and I can handle it pretty good. It's also not sipping on beers in the show. I've been having some bourbon and some tea and chugging beers, but it's not. I like drinking a lot of beers and not eating. I'm eating like a squirrel. Like I've lost 25 pounds. Now I'm getting ready to live life again, guys. And let's do it. You have another name here, Tom, for your honorable mentions. It's your last honorable mention. It is Harold Fannin. We call him Harry Fanny around here. Why don't you like Harry Fanny?
Oh, it's just it's a lot of brush you got to parse through to get to the pot of gold. No, the way that the Browns have kind of operated this offseason, you've got a new coaching staff in there that's they've got no loyalties to Fannin. They went out and invested 2 top 40 picks in Concepcion and Denzel Boston. So, they're definitely going to be looking to get those guys involved early on. The biggest thing for me is, first and foremost, I don't like to target bottom 5 offenses, which is very much what Cleveland projects out to be. The defense has gotten a little bit worse. So how much is that offense going to be on the field? No Myles Garrett. And the biggest thing that it comes down to for me is we don't have any sort of clue what this Browns quarterback situation is going to look like. Are they going to force, are they going to force Watson to be the guy because they paid him all this money? And then how long does that last? When do we see Shedeur Sanders? They're looking for Dylan Gabriel. We very well could see Taylor Green at some point this season.
Ugh.
So, right now
we don't want that, bro. I love Taylor Green. It'd be fun to start Taylor Green in fantasy because he's going to actually be a producer, but that's going to kill everything else, even the running backs, everyone.
Exactly. And Watson's got a history of not really leaning on his tight ends all that much. Sanders kind of liked him a little bit. He fares relatively well with Gabriel, but again, if Green gets in there, Green's going to be doing a lot of running, and Fannon's probably going to be stuck in there to block, and there's a lot of ambiguity around this whole situation that I think of all the players that hurts Fannin the most.
All right, so you hate him. You hate Fannin. Nico, what are your thoughts?
I put Fannin in a similar boat as I do Loveland, and it's more the receivers are around him that I trust in their talent, and I think the offense is going to go through them. You've heard really good reports so far out of Concepcion and out of Boston over there, and it's Deshaun Watson is going to be the starter, and Shedeur Sanders, Pro Bowl quarterback, is not going to unseat him outside of injury, and we know Watson doesn't lean on tight ends historically, so I would question what Fannin's going to be able to do in that offense that has a great running back in Judkins, 2 good young receivers. I think he's the 3rd target in the pass game with a quarterback that doesn't typically target tight ends. But what that offense is going to be, what the offensive coordinator is going to ask out of them, and obviously, I'm talking a little shit when I say it's Watson for sure the whole time because nobody knows that. But I don't trust it for what you got to pay either. He, like I said, he feels similar to Loveland for me. I'd rather have the receivers on those teams.
I think we're underrating that the Browns have playmakers now, and they had nothing last year, and Judkins is for real. You mix that with Fannin, who is a pretty elite tight end. At least he was the rookie. I love Concepcion. I know these are unknown assets, essentially. We can even call Fannin that after 1 year. But Concepcion, Boston, even Jerry Jeudy. Like, Jerry Jeudy's now the 3, essentially. I like that. It's not It's not like the Dolphins. This is much better roster than the
and
Dolphins.
they rebuilt their offensive line as well, which they needed to. It was a terrible offensive line last year. So if those guys can gel and give them some time, maybe, but I'd rather wait.
I get it. Okay, we're going to get to the list here in a second. I'm going to hit you guys with the intro. Give us 30 seconds, and we will be back. Well, this Judkins pass catching role is definitely a hypothetical. I hope it happens. I'm a big Judkins guy, and I don't want to spoil anyone's list. And there might be a Judkins cameo coming here later, and I'm gonna fucking fight tooth and nail on that one because I think it's bullshit. Before Nico gets back, we're gonna get to all the comments later, guys. Keep on putting them out. We'll get to as many as we can later. We have 10 names to get to though, but I do want to make a couple announcements. We do have one opening in our best ball league and one opening in our Superflex league. They're both slow drafts, our Fanatics league. So if you're interested in joining, you got to join the community to get in these leagues. Play against us. And I'm in every single league. I'm commissioning every single league. Never a better time to join. 50% off. Use the promo code PRO. The code PRO gets you 50% off. It's $5 to get in the community just to start. $2.50, Tom. That is like less than a pack of gum, bro. And you're in the Discord. All the codes are in the Discord. You get access to all of us. Also, shout out to all of the fine people in there. The list is growing. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. And let's also give a little shout out to Helen Hunt, who's looking like a fucking newswoman here. And very wild stuff from Helen. Don't like that look. Don't like it. The earrings are cool, I guess. How was your piss, man? That was a pretty quick piss.
It was pretty quick. I grabbed a drink as well. It was I don't really have to go, but since we're stopping at the gas station anyway, I'm going to go now so I don't get yelled at later.
All right. Ryan says send a link. Guys, help out Ryan and how to join the community in the chat if you could so we can get on to the list. And this is the top 5 here. 5 for each of you guys. This one's interesting. This is from a Niners fan. This is a Niners fan, and this is CMC at running back 3. Nico is scared to fucking death of CMC, and even in full PPR, you're fading CMC? What the fuck, man?
You gotta put some names on the list, even if you don't love it. You can't bet with your heart. It's not how you win in fantasy or in gambling. So with CMC, it's history. TD and I just had this conversation. I think I've brought it up on the pod before. Running backs that get more than 350 touches historically do not bounce back well the next year, whether it's injury, whether it's underperformance, what have you. It's typically missing games. But at his age, I don't trust him to stay healthy after the workload that he had last year. I know San Francisco's been making a lot of sacrifices to the substation of other players, but at what cost? CMC can't win the game on his own if he's got no one around him. So the concern for me, and you can't project injury, right? If this guy stays healthy, he has a chance to finish as the RB1, player 1 in fantasy again. But where you have to take him, ADP, I saw 5, ECR 8, right? He's running back 3 overall. What you have to pay for him that high in the draft, I am a little risk averse and would rather take someone that I trust to be on the field, regardless of his potential volume. He's a league winner and a league loser if he does what we think he's going to do with injury, unfortunately.
Tom, where are you at on CMC?
Again, we've had this conversation, and it's a real tough one to like hitch your wagon to, because when you hit that draft button at cost for CMC, it very much feels like this is going to make or break my season. And that's not a great feeling, because you're stressing it every week, waiting for that injury report to pop up. It's like, oh no, it's his calf. Now it's, a hamstring. Now it's a knee. It doesn't feel like it's a matter of if, it feels like it's a matter of when. And that's the terrifying thing of where you have to take him. But
he's already sat out with tightness, and the last time he had tightness, he missed the whole season. and was in Europe.
Well, last year, though, there were some reports of him missing practice before the year, and people like, here we go again, plays fucking 17 games. So I'm not looking at any reports. The bottom line is it comes down to confidence and how you want to play fantasy and build your rosters. I am generally safer in the first couple of rounds, specifically the first round. And I shoot for the moon later, right? Even like round 4, round 5, I shoot for the moon then. But this is a player when if you miss out on Gibbs, you miss out on Bijan, you miss out on Jamar Chase. Those are 3 league-winning players, and they better be because where you're drafting them. CMC, if healthy, is actually equal to all of them. And you get him at 5 or 6. But, Bijan has no injury risk. Gibbs has been relatively healthy his whole career, and Jamar Chase is just the GOAT. So, but CMC is the GOAT when he plays. It's just there's no in-between. There's no, high ankle sprain. He misses 3 games. It's you have him or you don't. When you have him, you win the league. If you don't, you're probably losing the league and you're not even making the playoffs. So
going full Ricky Bobby.
I want to have some shares though, and it's not even about price because it's okay, cool. If I get him at 7 or 5, it doesn't change the results. And St. Brown is a name that it's really close. St. Brown's never going to necessarily win you your league, but you feel so nice and secure with St. Brown. It's
he's
even when the motherfucker's hurt. Even when he's hurt, he plays, right? He plays with the injury, and it's not like he takes a big dip in production, maybe 10%. That's a nice thing. JSN this year is kind of the same thing. I don't like the ceiling of JSN, but you're getting 1,300 yards, 1,200 yards, and 7 touchdowns and 100 catches. That's super nice. But CMC is going to lap those fucking dudes if he's healthy. So are you fading him, Tom, or are you going to take some shares?
I'm definitely going to take some shares just because of the fact of what you said. If he plays 17 games, he's undoubtedly the number 1 scorer in fantasy. And you can go back through the years of number 1 player finishes, and CMC's got the number 1 in 3 of the top 5 over the past 7 years or whatever it is.
He's the running back version of Josh Allen is what he is,
Yeah.
But
and that's the thing.
It's a risky, man. It's risky, but I love it. You know what? For me, it depends on league. If it's a shallow league, give me CMC all fucking day. Yeah. The deeper the league, the more risk you're literally taking on. It's give me someone I know is going to play. Well, let's move on to your number 5, Tom. It is Jadarian Price. This is what I can get on board with. I was lukewarm in the CMC thing. I see both sides. I'm not a Price guy. I think all you guys know that. Why do you hate Jadarian Price so much? RB26.
So I'm going to take a little bit of a philosophical standpoint on this one real quick. And Nick and I, again, were having another conversation the other day about how winning a fantasy championship is a little bit luck-based. And, once you get to the playoffs and everything, it's kind of you just hope your team gets hot and you got to finish out, a couple of managerial moves here and there. But, it's getting to the dance. It's putting yourself in that position for luck. The skill in fantasy football, in my mind, is kind of exemplified throughout the regular season and getting to the playoffs. The more opportunities you make for yourself to get lucky is how you win a championship. And with where you have to take Price, and 2, just kind of the overall outlook that he has on this season, he's going to be one of those guys that, he's got to fight off Helani and Emmanuel Wilson, who they paid a little bit of money to in the earlier part of the season. And then that's when you're going to get the best version of Price, is if he's holding these guys off, if, they're running the ball effectively, playing good defense. And that's where you're going to benefit from having Price. But once it comes time to I need to win this match to get into the playoffs, or it's, now it's week 15, 16, 17, and I need a home run, we're relying on a guy that might be on the sideline for 40, 50% of the snaps, because Seattle has shown us that they are a regime that they had Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet for the last 2-3 years, and they would not give Walker, the lion's share until Sharps went down. And I think we're going to see the same thing. Again, this is a regime that drafted Rashad Penny in the first round. So just because the guy's got first-round capital doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean,
and they didn't want to make the pick. They literally tried to trade out of the pick. And there was no takers. They're fuck it, we won the Super Bowl. It's not even a luxury pick because they needed a running back. I understand that. And before I get to you, Nico, the point that you made was really great about, he's an early season guy, and it's we draft these rookies specifically to be late season guys. Right. And if you're telling me that the early season stuff isn't guaranteed, and I personally don't love the talent as much as most. I threw out a lot of Roshan Johnson vibes because it made a lot of sense. Roshan behind Bijan, Jadarian behind Love, and I think Price is a better prospect than Roshan, but not by a mile. You know what I mean? So it's just a very murky situation. Now the price isn't crazy; it's the price on price. Look at that! That's pretty cool. It's not crazy,
right.
but it's enough. There's better players in that range if you want stability, and I think there's better players if you want upside. Nico, are you on board with this fade of Price? Because I've been fading him since before he was even drafted.
The price is wrong, bitch. I feel like Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore. The price on Price is not what I want to pay. You overbid, and you're out. The fact that Charbonnet is coming back way sooner than anybody expected, I feel like it's going to be his team when he's healthy. He's the one with the history there. He's the one who's showing out. I also love the way Helani plays ball, man. The dude just gets after it. You can't keep him off of the field. He's been in very like high stress situations for Seattle. He's been out there when they've needed to trust someone, and they've shown that, and they brought him back for a reason. Wilson's kind of unproven. I know they gave him a little bit of money, but there's no real loyalty to anybody here but Charbonnet. And if he's going to come back like week 4 or week 6, when really we didn't expect him until a potential fantasy playoff run, I think that's going to cut into Price way sooner than what most expected. And the rookie adaptation time that he needs to get his feet underneath him, that's going to be it. He's going to be time's up once his feet are under him potentially. And I'm not having any part in it. I don't think he's going to help you at all in the late season. And there's always in the back of your mind that rookie wall that a lot of players seem to hit, where they're going from college, where they play less games, they have shorter seasons, and they struggle to push late in the year. So you're going to potentially struggle to push late in the year and have somebody who's already established there that's going to be coming back fresher. I'm not going to own any Price.
For me, if he falls to like running back 31, I will take a few shots in my 40 fucking redraft leagues. I don't want to miss out. Fear of missing out is it's small for me on Jadarian Price, but maybe Charbonnet has a setback. I see the path, right? Like again, Helani and Wilson are not elite talents by any stretch, but the fact there's 2 of them is concerning, and the fact that they literally chose to pay Shaheed instead of Kenneth Walker. They love Charbonnet. There's a reason Charbonnet kept Kenneth Walker off the field. It's not just because of his dancing. It's because Charbonnet does the things that this coaching staff respects, right? They're a very conservative team. You saw that with the fact they kick every field goal on 4th and 3. They want someone that can pass protect. They want someone that's good on the goal line. They want someone that doesn't fumble. They want someone that gets what's blocked. That is Zach Charbonnet in a fucking nutshell. And Jadarian Price is not that. I'm sorry, man. He has no experience. The dude has like no touches. So it's wild. All right, let's get to Nick O's second name. Also, shout out to Ryan. Just joined the community, and you're going to get in the league, man. You're going to get in the league. I'm going to send you the invite after the show. So sorry, I don't want to be distracted sending you that. But maybe if I have a break, I'll send it to you. But you'll be in there tonight, man. I'll get you in the Discord, and then we'll talk. So the next name here is your name, AJ Brown. There's a lot of fucking Patriots hate going on here. And what's going on here? Wide receiver 8 for AJ Brown. I understand that. It's the declining skill sets, the age stuff, the mental stuff, which is very apparent. But usually, I'll say this before I get to you, Nico. These guys, you see this with Stephon Diggs, their first year at a new destination, usually they're on their best behavior. But AJ Brown might just be out of his mind. So what do you think? Why do you hate AJ Brown?
You've seen A.J. Brown go from Tennessee over to Philly, and he started out okay there. So your logic, right? First year, you're going to be on your best behavior type of mentality. I think he's past that. I think A.J. Brown is treading in Aaron Rodgers' mental territory. He's a season or 2 away from ayahuascas and dark caves and not using Bluetooth earbuds and shit. Like, I question the mental side of it. I don't necessarily question his physicality or his ability, but I question a lot of the same things that I did with why I'm fading May. I don't have a ton of confidence in this offense. Vrabel is a defensive-minded head coach. It seems to want to run the ball and play defense. You saw him do the same thing. When he was head coach down in Tennessee, he won, more games than he lost most seasons, but just didn't put the finishing touch on. And I don't know that this offense is going to be able to overcome the schedule, to overcome the fact that their head coach is going to want to play small ball. He's going to want to play old school ball. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points and a ton of opportunity. And when I'm drafting somebody as high as AJ Brown, I want Amon-Ra. I want someone else, someone safe. I want one of those guys. And AJ does not.
Well, that's not the range, though. That's not the range. The range is Drake London. Drake London's the range. You want Drake London?
Yeah,
obviously.
I was just saying I'd rather have
Chris
someone
Olave?
safe. That was
Chris Olave or AJ Brown?
I think I'd take Olave and London both over AJ Brown.
There you go. Tom, are you fading AJ Brown as well because you're off this Patriots offense as well?
Yeah, no, I mean, didn't really conceptualize it all that much, but when you threw up London and Olave, knee-jerk reaction was, yeah, I would much rather have both of them. And,
What about Devonta Smith? Well, guys, real quick, what about Devonta Smith, his former teammate, who's now the number one in a low passing volume offense? But let's not forget, Smith, a Heisman trophy winner, been very damn good in the NFL, just never had the opportunity. So Devonta Smith or AJ Brown, is that close for you guys?
Oof, that's a tough one. I'm not much of a Devontae Smith truther, and I feel like you said that's not going to be a high pass volume offense either. Well, you're not sure what Mannion's going to want to run. I think I'm going to take the shot though, and if I had to choose between the two, I think in full PPR, Smith is going to get more volume. I know AJ's got a little bit more touchdown upside, but all things being equal, depending on team build and scoring, there's always variables. Man, gun to the head. I think I'm going Smith. Like, I think I'm going to trust that a little bit more.
Jesus, dude.
Say somebody put a gun to your head. Said, do you want your baby to be lighter or darker? What would you choose?
Why is someone holding a gun to my head
It's
and
a
asking me
hypothetical.
what shade I would prefer my son to be?
I don't know. So
Why is somebody putting a gun to my head?
He wants to find out what your preference is. So you're walking down the street with Will, and he snatches you into the backseat of the car, and now he's got a gun to your head. You want a lighter or darker baby? What shade? What shade?
Get away from me.
What color is the guy holding the gun?
He's mocha, right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
50-50. You want it lighter or darker?
I would say on the lighter side.
Fucking hate AJ Brown though. That's wild. Like, I don't love him this year. I still want Drake London over him, but I still want him over Pickens. I still want him over Olave. Is close with the news of Tyson for sure, but I'm gonna trust Drake May. We saw Kayshon Boutte in that same role.
Yeah, I saw where AJ finished the last 2 years as the one in Philly as well, man. And it ain't.
But he was still pretty good, like a top 10 receiver, man.
I'm out.
He was still pretty good last year. They were forcing the ball. He's out. Okay. Let's move on to the next name. Smith over London. I want London over Devonta Smith. I'm a Drake London guy, even with Tua as an issue for sure. Tua. We want Penix. We want Penix in there with London, right? That's just like fantasy goodness.
Yeah, you're
all right.
We want
this
Baker
one's obvious.
Mayfield
We knew this. I think you guys are fighting over this guy because you guys are both the biggest Kenneth Gainwell truthers. I think you guys want your dream. You know how they have the Make-A-Wish? Your guys' is Make-A-Wish. I mean, hopefully that never happens. I want you guys to live a long time. I need you on the show. If you had to make a wish, it'd be to bang Kenny Gainwell or to get banged by him or something like that. A three-way to Kenny Gainwell. That's what we're going to do on the show. The last episode ever of this show is just a three-way with Nick O, Tom TD, and Kenneth Gainwell, and then we get canceled. But it'd be well worth it and great theater. Tom, Bucky Irving, running back 23.
I'm seeing an Eiffel Tower with the real Kenny G playing saxophone behind us.
And Bucky Irving's wife in the corner watching.
Oh, filming for this channel. All right. What do you got, Tom? You hate Bucky Irving. Running back 23, though, is a pretty fair price for a guy we saw be a top 10 running back as a rookie with only like 14 or 16 touches a game. It was not a giant workload, but that was with Liam Cohen.
Yep. And Cohen is not there anymore, and they tried to give him 20 touches a game last year, and he broke, and obviously the size and the injury concerns are a big thing. And he had that whole weird thing when he was coming back with like that mental block that, the coaching staff was saying like he wasn't mentally ready.
No, it wasn't a mental block. It was like a mental health issue, which I think it was tied to him not being able to play football, and he's done his whole life, and that's understandable. But that's also another concern. Go ahead.
Right. But then, you've got the steady decline in production, the 5.4 yards a carry year one down to 3.4 the next year. And you saw it last year. He'd already pretty much relinquished that short yardage goal line opportunity to Tucker. He didn't have a single carry inside the 5 last year, and that's
insane.
Kind of to be expected.
Goal line touches, dude, wild.
And not gonna sit here and praise Kenny G any more than I already have on my last show that I was on, but it's already sounded like he's got a role or a grip on that passing downs role. So it's like, what does that really leave for Bucky? And you're drafting him as a low end RB2, but it's like he's profiling as a flex at best in my mind. I mean,
The talent's good. So here's you made a good point. So here's the concern. Where is for fantasy running back? Where's your money made? It's pass catching and goal line and touchdowns, or being a super explosive like long speed guy. And Bucky is not that. He's super shifty and good at almost like think of like Darren Sproles. He's not Darren Sproles, but Darren Sproles never hit home runs, but he just made like 4-yard carries into 30-yard carries. But Kenny Gainwell is a better pass catcher than Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker is a better goal line running back than Bucky Irving. But Bucky Irving is the best running back in this team. Would we all agree with that? Like, as much as we like Kenny Gainwell, like Bucky's still a better all-around running back than Kenny Gainwell. Let's not go too crazy, right? He is still better.
His change of direction, his body control, his pure athleticism, I'll give you all of those, right? He just doesn't have the durability and the other weapons that are there. I'm out. I agree with everything you guys said. All three of us hate Bucky Irving.
No. Hold on. The price is great, bro. Like I've been taking him. He's been falling into the end of the fifth round, early sixth round in best ball. And this is best ball. I do a million of these things, so I want to get some shares. In redraft, I'll be a little bit more hesitant, but like I see him much more of a floor play, even though there is the chance, especially with an injury, and there's two guys that get injured. If Gainwell goes down, he's going to have a boom in the passing game, and there is still the chance. Can we still acknowledge the chance that Sean Tucker is just not a thing, and it was Bucky's shoulder was never right last year. And I'm not saying Sean Tucker goes away completely, but maybe they split the goal line work. And if that's the case, I think Bucky beats his ADP. But there's a lot of moving parts here, I guess. But running back 23, it's not. If it was running back 16, he'd be on all my lists, right? 23 is still like a late fifth round pick. It doesn't seem crazy, but you guys just hate but you hate him. You hate him with a passion.
I can't get past that he left the game with a foot injury, was in a walking boot, and then the next day his shoulder's broken. I have a hard time understanding how a foot turns into a shoulder, and that's weird, man. Done that up. There's something about that guy.
I don't remember which game it was, but there was just the end of the post game when they're all walking up high five, and then you see Bucky limping up with 4 different ice bags taped to him in different areas. And it's just like, man, we just gave this guy 20 carries, and this is the shape that he's in. Didn't practice.
The Eagles game was the one he got hurt. They gave him like 28 touches in the Eagles game. He had a 70-yard receiving touchdown, and they ran him into the ground. It was a really competitive game, and it was like you said, a foot. It was reported as a foot injury, and then it was a shoulder injury. Then it was a mental health thing. It was just a wild situation. Let's move on to your next guy, Nico, and it is Trey McBride, tight end 2. And you're a Bowers guy, I believe, but I think is this a situational thing with you don't like taking tight ends early? Is this a fading the Cardinals? What is it? Why do you hate Trey McBride?
It's a number of things. One, I'm a Niner fan. No, I'm just kidding. That's not it at all. I don't love taking tight ends early. I might pull the trigger on Bowers because I feel like he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that team, which is what you saw McBride be last year for Arizona. And once he became unallergic to touchdowns, he really produced, and that was nice to see. I know you got Jacoby Brisket coming back. I'm not sure Carson Beck wins that job or how much he plays. My concern, if he does, he's not going to look for McBride on any shorter intermediate passes over the middle. You've got Michael Wilson, who showed out last year. Tip of cap to Rob for seeing that one coming. I know you're a big Wilson truther. I don't love Marv Harrison, but I feel like he's in a prove-it year. This is it. This is a make or break, and that offense is going to struggle. There's not going to be a lot of scoring opportunity. What you have to pay to get McBride, he's not going to make the production. He's not going to score, I don't think, anywhere near what the other players around him are going to score, and it's not going to help your fantasy team to have him there instead of an elite wide receiver or running back, somebody who's going to be starting in your lineup every week.
To expect what he did last year is just idiotic. Like, that's never going to happen. That was a all-time, like, stars aligning moment, right? Kyler gets benched. The defense goes to shit. Marv has an appendectomy. It was the passing volume. It was just, and he's a great player. Like, all those things, it was so perfect. And as a guy that had Trey McBride in, like, 9 leagues last year, it was magical. I had a lot of teams with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson, and I'm watching these games. I'm like, dude, they're down 27-3, but they weren't pulling their starters. And it was just like, they're both getting 4 catches a drive, and they're going to end with a touchdown because they're playing fucking prevent. And it was a lot of garbage time. Again, Trey McBride's a great player. Tom, where do you stand on Trey McBride?
It's an easy dodge for me, just for somebody that doesn't really like to go tight end early. And the price you have to pay pretty much alone takes me out on him, even though as somebody that did actually get the benefit from McBride last year in a couple of leagues, it is the volume going to be there. They're definitely going to try to, run the ball a little bit more. They've got a plethora of backs to deploy now. Obviously, I think the floor is safe there. I think the touchdowns kind of come back down to earth a little bit. And, not saying he's going to be a guy that's allergic to the end zone and doesn't, goes the whole season without a touchdown like he has done before. But I think, the whatever it was, 12, 13 last year was a bit on the high side, just kind of out of necessity of how bad that team was. And, it's still arguably as bad, but there's now the question of, is Brissett going to be, under center the entire time? And then if we have to see Gardner Minshew or Carson Beck, like there's some unknowns this year that weren't there per se last year.
Michael Wilson stepping up, Marvin Harrison being healthy. It is more target, and Jeremiah Love, right? More running volume for sure. We're going to get to all the comments in a little bit, guys. If you need something answered right away, if you don't want to wait, drop a $2 super chat. We'll get to it. We will stop the show for 2 minutes and give you an in-depth answer with three, well, not me, I'm the host, but two really, really elite analysts here, and they're happen to be my buddies too. You know what? My buddies are all geniuses. That's what I realized. Like I pick and choose through all my leagues I play like 6 home leagues for all these years. And I've just found people I love that know ball, that vibe with me, and somehow it just works because you guys know your shit. My job's so easy. I'm just making dick jokes, and you guys are just crushing it. Fuck yeah, dude. By the way, I'm 6 inches. What's up? Yeah. Okay, Trey McBride. I have been taking him in best ball recently because he's been falling to like the 310. The 310 in best ball, which is pick 35. Like that's money. Where Bowers goes like 17, 18. Like, I definitely like it there. I think in redraft, though, you're going to see him go at the 2-3 turn, which now you're passing on players like Olave, like Devonta Smith. Give me your realistic expectations. Let's just go average outcomes for Trey McBride. It's, 120 catches. It's never happening again. I have a number in my head. I think if they played the season 100 times, what it would average if everyone stays healthy, no injuries to the receivers, and they keep Brissett in there and he stays healthy. Give me your line, like 8, the catches, the yards, the touchdowns. Nico, you start first because this is your hate.
Oh man, this is a tough one for me to project. That's a difficult division that he's in.
It is.
Tough defenses too, and I trust some of the other weapons there. I don't hate the head coach and new coordinator. I feel like they're going to be able to make some things happen. It's I think a 4-win team Vegas is projecting them for, and I kind of like the over on that given the weapons that they have. But for McBride, man, 80, 90 catches, 900,000 yards, and 8 or 9 tutties.
Well, that's really good, but it's right on the border of is it a fair pick? I was gonna say about 85 to 90, 1,007. That's my like average projections. What do you have, Tom, for this?
I was just running a little bit of calculations on my cellular device there, but yeah, no, that 90 catches breaks down to about 5 a game. I can definitely see that 900-ish yards, give or take, and then in that 7 to 8 touchdown range. So, you're looking at a top 3 tight end more than likely, but I don't.
Well, he can finish at tight end 2 and still not return value because it's not about him finishing tight end 2. It's about how much does he lap the field, and then how much, like, what is the value based on the receivers going or running backs going in that range? Or like you could take Jeremiah Love in that spot and
middle of the second round, right? Like,
no, end of the second. I say 2-3 turn. It makes a lot of sense. Ryan, I have it right here. New Patreon member, $5 member, Dirty Milkers. You can see that. Hold on, $5 member. So don't worry, man. If there's any issues, dude, you're gonna get your money back. Don't worry about that. It says $5 on here, so that's weird. But don't worry, buddy. I'm gonna take care of that for you. I'm pretty sure that's what my email says. I'll look into it when the next guy's talking. So let's move on to the next name, and then I want to help out Ryan here and Quinshon.
You don't want to be here for this one?
What? No, I'm gonna be here for this one. I gotta give me 10 minutes for this one because Quinshon Judkins. Let me just running back 24, and this is generally PPR we're talking about. That might be your biggest concern. But Quinshon, running back 24, the tape's awesome. The player's awesome. It's not a three-headed monster at all. It's literally him and Dylan Sampson, who I do love. But I am a Quinshon Judkins fan.
You are Michael Bolton?
Yeah.
Is that your real name? Are you any relation to the pop singer?
No, it's just a coincidence.
Vic, I'll be honest with you. I love his music. I do. I'm a Michael Bolton fan. For my money, I don't know if it gets any better than when he sings "When a Man Loves a Woman."
Gross.
All right,
Michael
go
Bolton
ahead. Give me
awful.
your Judkins thing, man. What do you got? Why do you hate him so much?
So with the fan and ordeal of the switching I touched on the switching quarterbacks and the bottom 5 offense. That's one thing. The new offensive line, right? We expect it to be better, but they brought in some nice pieces, and I will give them that much. But these are 5 guys that have not played together, and it's going to take them a minute to gel. And it's probably going to be a little delayed off the start of the year. They have 2 road games, which don't typically bode well for new offensive lines. And it's Jacksonville, who was one of the top rush defenses last year that I want to say retained most to all of their players, and then Tampa. So you're going to have 2 struggling games right off the rip. He wasn't a hyper-efficient runner last year, and obviously I know that line wasn't getting him a lot of yards before contact, but even post that, it wasn't anything flashy. And that was when he wasn't coming off of a season-ending fibula fracture that I don't remember where I saw it or whatnot. I think I was listening to a podcast where they mentioned it, but somebody did a study of, running backs coming off of fibula fractures, and there is a noticeable decline that next year. So that scares me a little bit. And you touched on Sampson, and again, we're talking PPR here. He generated or garnered the same rough target share as guys like CMC and Gibbs did last year when he was out there. And this team's going to be in a lot of negative game scripts. So I think we're going to see a little bit more Sampson than we're really kind of expecting to this year, just because Judkins is, for all intents and purposes, the guy. He was last year. He got that full workload, and it netted him RB 26 last year with that full workload. So, I mean, I feel like with where we're having to draft him, we're drafting him at his best possible outcome. I don't really see him finishing above running back 20.
Dude, he missed all of preseason last year. That offense, I'm not saying it's much better this year, but I actually, you know what I'm saying? It's much better this year because, dude, Dylan Gabriel played like 8 games last year. That dude is he's as tall as you, dude.
8 games this year.
No, dude, Shador is going to play. Watson's going to play. Judkins averaged 19.6 touches a game. And I understand that isn't a great argument because he was like running back 25 last year, but you think his volume's going to go down? No fucking way, bro. Quinshon Judkins is the easiest smash of smashes this year. He's going to have 22 touches a game. You don't want running back 24 on your team that has 22 touches. I don't care what the volume, what the efficiency is. I don't give a shit. 22 touches.
The volume makes him a safe enough, play. And at that point, I wouldn't mind having him in my flex, but I'm not going to rely on this guy as a running back too. When I'm getting bottom end RB2 numbers.
No, yeah, that's where you're drafting him, and that's the floor. He has more to grow. Do you like the player or do you hate the player? I got to ask you this first. Do you hate the player or something? Because Quinshon Judkins, watch his film. He's a fucking man, dude.
And that's the thing is I like the player. I hate the situation.
I don't care. It doesn't matter because if he was running back 17, fair point. Running back 24, what are we talking about? Like it's not the upside. I understand is a little bit neutered based on the situation. But again, we're bad as a fantasy community at predicting these situations. And it is the Browns, so it's obviously likely going to be a bad situation. But Concepcion, Fannin, Denzel Boston, Jerry Jeudy. I shouldn't add Jerry Jeudy in there, but Jerry Jeudy as a third weapon is not bad, dude. He made a Pro Bowl. He's at a 200-yard game in his career. Dude, this is easy money with Judkins, and to fade him, fine. I want to play more leagues with you. I'll get Judkins everywhere. Nico, where do you stand on Judkins?
It's hard to get past the Browns, but there are teams every year that surprise us. There's teams that's, don't take anyone off of these bottom 4 or 5 teams because none of them are going to be worth a shit, and then they show out anyway. So like you said, it's hard for us to project the known commodities on bad teams. I'm a Breece Hall truther. I like Garrett Wilson. Don't draft them. They're on the Jets, right? Like, oh, don't take these guys. They're on the Browns. Don't take Love. He's on the Cardinals. Like, you just can't know necessarily what some of these offenses are going to be. I hear Tom's point with the offensive line needing to gel, but awful offensive line last year. Where he hit right where you're drafting him at right now. So I would expect some improvement given the wide receivers that are there, the quarterback play. If it's Watson or Shedeur, you're going to open the field up a little bit. You're going to keep defenses a little bit more honest, and your offensive line improves. I think you are drafting him at his floor. I think he's going to potentially finish higher than that. The concern is in PPR, where Samson is going to eat that stuff up. So it's a tough call, and I hear both arguments.
No, it's not a tough call. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you guys some grace when you're on my show. Our show. This is our show. I'm going to give you some grace. Not on this one, man, because
I'm not. You didn't let me finish. I'm not fading Judkins because I think you're drafting him at his floor. Is where I was going to finish my statement at before the host so rudely cut me off.
Spencer Fanu, monster, definitely graded better in run blocking. He's a mauler. Austin Barber, also a mauler. So they're going for a run heavy approach. Again, I love Dylan Sampson. Like, I draft both Dylan Sampson and Judkins in best ball.
I want to talk to Samson. Climbing to the moon like that bitch Alice Cram.
It's just, you told me you liked the player. I don't know what happened to my screen here. You told me you liked the player, and that's where I'm confused. If you love the player, it's the volume. Like, what do you project for his?
He doesn't hate the player. He hates the game.
Now, the fibula point was fair. Now, that is a fair point. I think
I didn't know that one either. Good call. Good dig on that.
That's the only. Well, we saw the injury. It was a nasty injury. That's the only one. It's the Pacheco parallel. But Pacheco came back that same year too early. This is enough time. I absolutely hate this one. I just gotta say, and it's not just because I love Judkins. It's just the price point. This is just to get a running back. Like, I get why you would take Montgomery over him, but Montgomery might have a Woody Marks problem, and the offense isn't great in Houston. And they're better than the Browns, but we don't know that, man. There's weapons here. This was last year. This was as bad as the Raiders situation, and Genty and Judkins were tied in terms of yards before contact. They were both bottom 2 in the league. And if this number jumps up even like a half yard and you give a full offseason Judkins, I don't know. We can talk about this all day. Let's move on.
Side bet.
Side bet for Judkins. Devon A-Chain for Nick O, running back 10. Do you want to have him on your list, Tom?
So, again, Nick and I, we didn't discuss who we were putting on our list, but we did a little bit of like verbal karate and kind of deduced a little bit of, like, that was kind of how I figured Bucky wasn't going to be on Nick's list, and he wasn't originally going to be on mine, but I couldn't not go a podcast without slandering Bucky Irving, so I had to throw him on my list. But I'm very happy to see A-Chan on here, because the last time I was on the show, I tried to do not. I love it. No, I did enough shoveling dirt on A-Chan the last time I was on the pod, so I'll give the shovel to Nick.
It's not a big load to lift here, right? For me, Barry and A-Chan isn't that hard given what you have to pay for him. He sees volume. He's an incredible athlete. The guy, I mean, he's Gibbs South, right? Is kind of how I feel about him, right? And it's one of those where the volume, the ability, the athleticism, the pass catching, all the things are there, except for the rest of the team. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the pod tonight, where Miami's working with half of a salary cap. You cannot build a team equal to everybody else when you have half of the money. It's just not going to work. Like, you want to do a draft and have a salary draft where you get half of the money as the rest of the league, you're not going to be competitive. It's just not going to work out. I think Malik Willis is going to run the ball there and take some of that work away from him, and they're going to be playing from behind. I don't think you're going to be a lot of handoffs or a lot of running. He's going to get his catches. I like him enough in PPR, but that offense, that scoring opportunity as a whole, I'm distancing myself from what I have to pay for him.
You look pretty good in the preseason today, but I told
yeah,
you
Chase Daniels looked real good in the preseason today too.
So you guys both hate Achane. Let me give you some names, and let's just do this as a full PPR. You know what's weird is we think of Achane as like a ceiling play. I actually think of him this year as a floor play, especially in PPR, like just volume, right? The touchdowns are not as important in PPR. And I do this. I go back and forth because I'm not really a Hampton guy either. And I want to say Hampton over Achane just because of offensive environment. But there's concerns in terms of Keaton Mitchell and Kamani Vidal and what is his snap share. Like, we have no concerns of Achane, like, besides him losing some goal line carries. But does that even matter? Because how many goal line carries are there to be had in Miami? And I understand that. I'm saying, but, like, he's going to be on the field. He's a dynamic player. He's going to have a bunch of receptions, even if Malik Willis doesn't throw the ball out to running backs, so there's no receivers to throw the ball to. So, like, this is a between the 20s merchant that's not Bucky Irving. This dude could take anything to the house. And who do you guys want? Hampton in full PPR or Achane?
I almost put Hampton on this list as well. We had some discussion about ADP versus ECR regarding fantasy pros. And at ADP, I would have put Hampton on this list. At ECR, I chose not to. So I am not the Hampton truther that everybody else is. And he's in the same doghouse for me, where I don't love the opportunity. I don't think he's going to be the workhorse. I don't think he's shown me enough to where I want to take him that high. Achane has at least shown me his ability, and on a not great team over the last year or two, the volume in PPR and the home run ability, and nobody else there to take work away from him, where I'm a bit of a Keaton Mitchell truther, as well as you saw McDaniels come out and say he's going to run all three running backs over there, and it's a whole different offense that's going to be able to move the ball a lot of different ways, where I think the entire offense is going to have to go through Achane until he breaks, and he's shown very good durability given his size. So I'm going to take Achane over Hampton.
So you should just switch this to Hampton because Hampton goes ahead of Achane
on ADP, but not in ECR. Like that was part of my issue, man.
Right. Okay. I know. I get it. Tom, how do you break this down? Achane or Hampton? Because Hampton clearly has top 5 upside in terms of running back, just based on this offense going boom there in LA, where I don't, besides the ability and like 7 long touchdowns from Achane, it's just not going to happen. But the floor is way higher because there's a chance that we're literally getting like a 60% snap share from Hampton. And like, that's not getting it done, brother. Like 60%, no thank you. At that point, give me Judkins, bro.
No, I mean, we kind of touched on the offensive environment, and, you know, we have to see Malik Willis break this whole consistent chain of not wanting to throw to the running backs. Also, not going to stand for the besmirchment of Dallas Cowboys great Jalen Tolbert. All right, we're going to put that aside. He is a receiver on the Dolphins, South Alabama, 2nd-round pick. He was terrible. I hated him, but nonetheless, he was a Cowboy. But no, it's close. It's closer than I would like it to be, just because that PPR floor should be there, and it is definitely more the ceiling aspect that I think Hampton has in spades in that offensive environment. We've seen McDaniels, like, yeah, we got coach speak left and right out the ass at this point of the season, but he will develop a game plan to feature his best players. And while I think Keaton Mitchell has some juice that we've seen in Baltimore, you can't go away from Hampton. I don't think Vidal's going to be much of a thing at all. So I think it's really just going to be a 2-back system. And I think Mitchell's going to be changing pace a little bit more. So where Hampton's floor is in relation, it is a little bit lower than Achane's. I will say that, but I would say that there's a lot more upside with Hampton. At that point, I can deal with that little bit of floor separation between the two, taking that upside with Hampton.
Ryan has a good call here. By the way, Ryan, I emailed you. I'm a man that can do a lot of things on the show and still give you good information. 3 emails, double checked everything. You only charge $5, so I gave you the invite as well live. What up, baby? If you get a running back 1, take Achane. If you get a wide receiver 1, take Hampton. So because Hampton I think it's the late season stuff, right? There's a chance that A-Chain, for one, with all the work, will break. And why would they play him later in the year? And I know Storey will say coaches do dumb shit, which makes sense. New coach not wanting to, he's going to try to win because he needs to keep his fucking job. These NFL teams will fire you in 2 years if you are not winning. And the Jets are about to fire.
Coaches are idiots. He hates.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I do like that point though. Is if you have an RB1 already, take A-Chain because it'll soften the blow of potentially him missing time. But that makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to the next name here, and this is Tom's name. Even though you guys both shared A-Chain essentially, Rashee Rice, wide receiver 12, going at the 2-3 turn. Why do you hate Rashee Rice? I mean, there's a million reasons you could list because he's a bad person. He's a moron. He never plays football. He injured his own players. He injured Patrick Mahomes, the savior. Why do you hate Rashee Rice so much?
So I'm going to avoid the low-hanging fruit right now of the character concerns and the injury risks, and just going to kind of paint a picture for the, more the general fan that watches and plays fantasy and not the people that dive into the numbers. But the pre-Rashee Rice era in KC, that offense was potent, quick striking. I'm not getting more emails. Just fast striking, potent, deep field attacking, and it was a very scary offense. That offense we haven't seen that fear. Like we've seen KC look quote unquote mortal these last few years in the Rashee Rice era. And part of that is, adapting to the players that they have. And Rice operates a little bit more in the shorter area of the field. And the culmination of getting Walker and the other guy, Worthy, they've both been taking screens and short area targets in camp and at practice. And right now you've got two guys that you need to get the ball to. Like Walker has shown that he can be a good pass catching weapon, and Worthy is explosive with the ball in his hand. So yeah, we'll manufacture touches for him. So you're taking away a little bit of the, that general target share that would encompass Rice and how he kind of gets his catches and his point catch merchant, if you want to call him that. But I feel
like that a PPR scam.
Yeah,
it's a PPR scam.
Like,
Keenan Allen.
A little bit more of a. We're going to see a little bit more of a shift from KC as like a more balanced offense and a more efficient offense, which is going to just deflate the volume and the opportunities for Rice to just rack up those little catches. And then you can tie it back to the, how many players do you want on your team that were nursing surgery recoveries in jail?
He does not look good. I don't know if you guys seen any film. It does not look great. It's looked labored. And Rashee Rice's talent's never been great. The role has been great. And he's very good with the ball in his hands. Guy is way below average in terms of beating man coverage. Very good against zone with that cookie cutter role. But this is a little fear of missing out because Rashee Rice on a per game basis, Big Ray with a $10 super chat. Give me a second, buddy. We'll get to this, take a little break in the show. And we're going to love a couple guys here with Big Ray's comment. Get some love players for you. It's per game basis. Rice has always been a wide receiver 1. It's just, and your concerns were actually not even as much injury. It was more like you think a step back in terms of the role. And that's a concern because the biggest concern should be availability. And real quick, it's for Big Ray in here.
The best availability.
Right here. The best availability is availability. Big Ray. This is the fucking words from a genius. And the availability for Rashee Rice has not been there. And the film, though, I mean, I know he's come back from the injury. He was in jail. He looks a little fat, looks a little slow, and he was never great to begin with. I've been on this hill for a while, and people are like, you're an idiot. Rashee Rice is great. I'm like, he does two things. I read the stat. I saw it's Ian Hartnett, who I follow on Twitter. Great follow. He had it. He put it. It's a video. It says all Rashee Rice receptions of 24+ air yards. It was an 8-second video because it was one fucking play. One play of 24+ air yards his entire NFL career with Patty Mahomes, which, it's not all bad because it's like he's done all this with little fucking 3-yard A-dot plays because he's good with the ball in his hands. He's a monster, and Mahomes is great at getting the ball and being accurate. But, that's super concerning. Give us your thoughts, Nico, on Rashee Rice before we get to Big Ray Super.
Rashee Rice right now, like you said, you look at the film and it's been manufactured touches. It's been short game things, really low ADOT. He's almost Debo-esque at this point. And you're going to try and do your best to get him some work, and you can't just continue to hyper focus on one guy and think the defense isn't going to take that away. Granted, Kelsey's 86 years old and not going to take a lot of work in the short game over the middle, but Worthy, I think, takes another step forward. More so, it's Ken Bone, Tiny Dancer, K9 Walker that is going to get leaned on. They're going to have their best running back and the best run game that you've seen Andy Reid and this Kansas City Chiefs have in years. And you're not going to need to manufacture 3-yard passes to Rice to compensate for not having a run game. And I think his volume comes down. And the whole rehab and jail part, fixing your leg on prison time or jail time is not a recipe for success, in my opinion. So I'm very out on Rice.
And something that I just thought about when you were going on there is how much like the ADOT's going to factor in with again, what I think is going to be a little bit more of a stylistic change in KC. Like they're going to be running the ball a lot more. Walker's going to be more efficient. So defenses are going to be a little bit more apt to walk another safety down into the box. And now they go play action. It's like, oh, well, now there's another guy in Rashee Rice's passing lanes. Like that's a realistic outcome in my mind.
All right, Big Ray for the $10 holler. I would chug for this one. Hello, gentlemen. Love seeing you all. Please give me 2 to 3 guys you all like that are below ADP or above ADP. Let's make this a positive conversation because this whole show is about shitting on players, and your guys' hate list can be a combo of both. Hashtag get raid. Oh, and Ben Johnson, Caleb and company ready to take off. Touch on the Bears real quick, guys. Give me your over-under win total. Give me the number the Bears are going to win this year.
Oh, man. The Indiana Bears are going to have a solid year. I think you're going to see the first quarterback throw for over 4,000 in Indiana Bears history. I think you have 2 really good receivers that are going to light it up. I don't have a ton of faith in Swift or Monungai, but I do in Ben Johnson. And I think that defense takes a step forward. Losing Kobe Bryant on the back end of that defense is a tough pill to swallow. That was a bit of a weakness on the back end for them last year, just kind of having safeties and corners fight through injury. So if the rest of them stay healthy, I see a world where Chicago is the second best team in the NFC North. Notice I came back to Chicago there. Don't hate me too much. But it's I think 11 wins, man, is where I got them at.
Ooh, Tom, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I've definitely got them cracking that double-digit threshold. For sure. And even, agreed very much. And I know we've talked a little bit about the Bears and some of their other weapons and just the fact that they have the ability to attack you in a multitude of different ways. And I'll even lean a little bit more where Nico was kind of fading a little bit on that running game. I think Swift is going to have another big year. And I haven't done all of my breakout player projections, but I've done most of my team projections to this point, and the Bears favored out pretty well in the running category when I had them fully statted out. They're one of my top 6 or 7 teams as far as total rushing yards coming, and that's obviously Caleb included. But as it stands right now, I'll just give you guys a little insight. Bears projected out at me for 488 total attempts, 2161 yards on the ground, and 19 touchdowns. So there is definitely going to be some value to be had in that backfield as well as that passing offense. And I'm excited. I'm going to own a handful of Bears this year across my leagues.
When I can give you my actual true feelings in this one and take away my Bears hat because I'm a fantasy and a gambler. But when I was on Nice and Blunt show, he kind of threw me a kind of a wild card, and he said, I'm going to go through the Bears schedule. He went game by game. I wasn't prepped for this, and I just went off the cuff in terms of what I thought they were going to do game by game. I am going 10-7, so I have to stick with what I did in terms of my heart. 10-7, good season, still making the playoffs, but not winning the division. I had the Lions winning this division. The Lions' schedule is soft as hell. I don't care about their defense being bad. I'm trusting in that system and that machine they're running over there. Let's get to a couple names that we like. So one name each for you guys. I'll give 2. It can't be Kenny Gainwell or the guys who talked about. Give us someone else that you love and you will reach on here. I'm going to start with you, Nico.
Man, that's a tough question without seeing a list in front of me. Done a few mocks.
We got our draft on fucking Sunday. You're doing mock drafts?
Yeah,
450
man.
best balls. Get fucking real, bro.
Mocks are a hoot. The draft is Sunday. I'm raring to go. I got my ranks all lined up, and I think the guy that I'm reaching on, and I gave a little hint to this earlier as part of why I'm lower on Loveland and I'm higher on Warren. I think that's a dude that I'm willing to pay the price for. I see the volume there. I see that offense lighting it up and getting right back to what it was with Danny Dimes last year. I think I'm a bit of a Warren truther, and I don't tend to go high on tight ends. But I see a world where I might do something dumb in the earlier rounds this year.
All right, what do you got, Tom?
I'm a little torn between which Steeler I want to pick here, because offensively they're not, the highest projecting offense, but they're going to be a solid enough team, and I think the price on Rico Dowdle is still a little too low for my liking, and I can see a clear and clean path of him just taking the keys to that backfield, because they never won. They've shown time after time that they will not give it to Jaylen Warren, and I think Warren's going to get relegated. I think Rico's going to be a horse there, and the fact that you can still get him as a flex, I love. And if you're one of those teams or one of those players that likes to wait a little bit on running back, I mean, he's definitely a guy you can pencil in. And, if you do the whole deep zero RB thing, like he could be your number one if you're loaded elsewhere. But, I mean, I think he's going to be a very safe, running back two, bar none. And the other little one that I was tipping my hat to was Pittman, because I think he's going to be the most valuable receiver to own in Pittsburgh.
All right, so I have a couple names here. This one's pretty obvious. But more of a best ball thing, although in my deep public leagues where there's no trades, there's 8 bench spots, everyone takes a backup tight ends. I am fine with Hawkinson way above ADP, but I'm going to give you a couple names here. Shaheed is a guy I think could vault into wide receiver 3 territory. He can draft at wide receiver 50. Love him. And I think the dip on Alec Pierce in redraft, if he's now going on the bench, then that's perfect, because I don't need to start him. And Alec Pierce is the number one there. Alec Pierce is a baller. That's a guy that, in best ball I've tapered off a little bit because I don't want to lose the early season production. But if you're telling me he is my 4th receiver and maybe even not 5th receiver, but if he starts going in the 90s or 100s because there's some negative news, I don't give a shit, because I actually want that, because I want Alec Pierce for the end of the season. And ankle injury is not a soft tissue thing, right? He might be hampered all year, but he's not going to get re-injured. When he comes back, he'll be on the field. That dude is such an athletic freak. I know it's wild because he's white, but he is an athletic freak. I know you guys would like that one. 80% of Alec Pierce is still 100% of most other players. The role is awesome. I think they're going to use him more creatively. They have to. They have to justify this insane contract they gave this guy. And I'm kind of high on the Colts offense based on how low I am on this defense. And, Daniel Jones, it all looks good. So that's one of the guys for me. And then if there's anyone else, I would say give me Tet McMillan. I think Tet McMillan is prime, end of the 3rd round, early 4th round. Like, there's an argument where I could be like, he should be up there with the 2-3 turn guys, with Rashee Rice and with Devonta Smith. Like, yeah, Coker's awesome. I love Coker, but if they start using Tet McMillan in the slot, even like 20%, dude, he's going to crush souls. I don't care how bad Bryce Young is. The schedule's tough. 6.5 win total implied by Vegas. Like, they're going to be losing a lot of games this year, and Tet McMillan's going to have a fuckload of targets. That dude's going to catch touchdowns. So that's my answer. Appreciate you, Big Ray. Guys, tomorrow night you're going to see Big Ray on this program drafting. We have a sleeper draft, a community draft set up 10 p.m. Central, and then we're going to do some best ball after that. So Big Ray's still in here. Appreciate that. We're going to have a good time and get kind of crunked. Let's get back to this list. We have a couple names. We have 2 names left on this
quick
list.
Little PSA. If you're a Jadarian Price truther and you're going to draft him, do yourself a favor and draft Alec Pierce to have on the back end when he doesn't exist.
Ooh, that makes a lot of sense. Look at that. See? That's some good thinking. All right, next name here. And this would be, is this yours, Nico? Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, it's Lamar.
So you hate Lamar and you hate Drake May? Is that what you're telling me? You're waiting at quarterback? Are you into Josh Allen?
I tend to wait at all the onesie positions. Allen will get you right where you need to be based on where you draft him. He does it every year, but I'm not doing it. My concern with Lamar is a number of things. One is end of the third round is where he's going at. And I don't want any part in that versus the other players that I can take right there. Based on his history alone, we're starting to wonder about age. We're starting to wonder about injury. But for me, it's more Todd Monken leaving that team and not knowing what this offense is going to be. You're going to ask Lamar to be more of a pure passer than you ever have before, is what it sounds like, is what it looks like. And I like Zay Flowers, but there's not a lot else I like in the pass game there. Mark Andrews is 82, like 4 years younger than Kelsey. And I don't have a lot of faith in him. I don't understand why they let Likely walk. Henry's just never going to end or walk off the plateau. Like he's going to keep doing his thing. He looks like a monster. And I'm concerned given Lamar's pass ability. I liked Monken when he came in there, and I liked how he opened up the offense, and he got Lamar as a better passer than he's ever been. But I think Lamar was a product of that offense. And I'm concerned going forward that you're not going to see the rushing, and the pass production isn't going to be there outside of Zay, and you're not going to get a return on your investment. He's not going to get you the points you need to take him in the middle of the third round.
It's not middle of the third round, but it's.
Is it not? Where's it going?
I mean, underdog right now, ADP 55, so that's fifth round.
So ADP
home leagues will probably get up there.
Yeah, was 41, but ECR is 31 on Fantasy Pros, and
yeah, that's why these lists are so hard to do, because there's so many different ways, and I'm just going off what I've seen on best ball drafts. But best ball is different. I understand that people will push up quarterbacks in terms of home leagues because you can't pair three together. I understand that. So let's call it like early fourth round is probably for Lamar Jackson. I think that makes sense. Tom, are you off Lamar Jackson too? Because it comes down to health. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, he will. I'm not saying he doesn't have to beat his ADP. He can finish at quarterback 2 and still be a value, because the gap between him and Drake May, the gap between him and Jaden Daniels, whoever else is quarterback 3, should be substantial. And there's still a world if he beats out Josh Allen. It's risky because he doesn't play every game typically, but Lamar Jackson has these MVP fuck YouTuber seasons, and he's right at that threshold with a scrambling quarterback where it could be over. But it could be the last remaining year. And people are talking a lot of shit about Lamar Jackson, including Nick O here.
I'm willing to miss. I'm willing to miss a year and be out early, given what I think he's going to do.
And that's a fair way to look at it. And the rushing aspect has always given him a very, very polished and very safe floor. You've seen like the rushing inside the 20 go down a little bit. So like the touchdown upside isn't really there as much. You don't see as much of the read option play, and that's more of a product of the offense and trying to make him more of a pocket passer, which has been successful to this point. I mean, that I don't think it's far-fetched to say that the guy was struggling to throw a football when he came into the league, and has leaps and bounds from that. But I'm also kind of just at this range of the draft, there's other players that I would rather have. I'd rather be filling out my running back and receiver spots at this point, just because I'm typically one that hammers running backs early, because I don't like to miss on those, and I like to have that secure volume. And usually, fourth, fifth round, if I'm not taking my flex running back there, I'm trying to backfill my receiver position, and Jackson just doesn't really fit into the equation.
All right, sorry, a little distracted. I don't want to miss out on Lamar Jackson's MVP thing, right? It all depends on where you're getting him. It all depends on, third round. Fuck no. If he bleeds in the fifth round, Nick O, and in the fifth round, are you into Lamar Jackson? If it's early fifth round, let's call it pick 51.
Depending on team build and if I've done something, where I feel comfortable with my starters, where I feel safer, then maybe I'll take the risk there. But given the assignment and going off the list he was at 31, man. And that's just, there's no chance that I'm touching him that high. So I'd start considering him in the fifth round.
If I got a value at a tight end position,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if I got a value at a tight end position where, again, kind of just doing a little team build exercise in my head. If I got a running back or two that I like and got a tight end at a good enough value where I can kind of like supplement my receiver position, I would probably look at Lamar just to be doubled up on those onesie positions and have that positional advantage. But that would kind of be how it would need to fall for me.
We have some drama in the chat regarding the poll I put up here. 39 votes for biggest bust at ADP in 2026. We have CMC, Rashee Rice, A-Chain, and Lamar. And CMC is leading at 38%, then 26% with Rice, 28% A-Chain, 26 Rice, 8% Lamar. People are not worried about Lamar. And CMC is such a polarizing player. Big Ray is on the camp of he's fucked me before, I'm never taking him. And there's a lot of people that's like, well, when he plays, though, we discussed this. You had a fade for him, and you're a Niners fan. When he plays, he is not even running back one. He is the most valuable player in fantasy football. So it comes down to your risk tolerance, right? And there's no right or wrong way here because either one of you guys are going to be way wrong. There's no middle ground on CMC. It's either you're an idiot or you're a genius. And he's getting up there in age. I don't want to put all my eggs in CMC's basket. If I had, let's say I had the 5th pick, I do 40 leagues. Let's say I had the 5th and 6th pick in 10 of them, and CMC was there every time. Like, there's no way I would take 10 CMC shares. Like, even though it is the right pick. Like, if I'm trying to win fucking money, which I am, and I'm shooting for the moon, I'm in competitive leagues, right, where it's like CMC is what's going to put me over the top. Even I, who am a CMC truther, believer, he's won me a lot of money in my career, I'm never taking 10 fucking CMC shares. In general, I don't want to do that with any player, but definitely not CMC. But I'm never taking 0. It's probably 5, where it's like JSN has his upside. Last year, it's never happening again, first of all. But like his upside is not. Even last year was not CMC.
Year ever last year.
St. Brown does not have that ceiling. I'm sorry, they spread the ball around there too much, and the touchdowns are to come back to earth. Like Jonathan Taylor doesn't catch enough passes. Even Puka, like. Give me CMC over. Puka has his own questions. So there's always questions after the top 3. So I see both arguments, right? And that's what makes fantasy great, though. This is what makes fantasy great. This is why if you do as many drafts as I do, you see the crazy range of outcomes on specific players where it's like, dude, this guy went fucking 9th or this guy went 17th. Like, these people are seeing it much different, where I'm more down the middle because I play so many leagues. I'm just going to take fucking value. And that's the advantage of playing so many. It's like I can have shares of everyone at better ADP than you because I'm not playing 3. If you play 3, it's like you got to get your guys. But I'm just going to let the board fall and just take my guys. I'm going to really hit guys last year like Olave, Pickens, Kraft, where it's like I can get them if I want to. I just have to reach 5 picks. Or I play enough where it's like I'm just going to get them at ADP in 18 spots. But most people don't have the luxury of doing that. So CMC is, if you play 1 or 2 leagues, it's like really difficult because you don't want to invest everything in a guy that may break and should break, but might not break because the dude's a fucking monster.
So let's do an exercise, man. We got our home league draft on Sunday night coming up. And where does CMC go? What's the over-under? Pick 5, pick 8, pick 12, pick 3? What do you think?
I'd put it at 5.5. So I'd say he goes 5. I think he goes 5.
I think exactly.
I gotta look who's picking there.
I think it's a little later.
Oh, I have the 9th pick, right? It's reverse order from last year.
Mm-hmm.
The standings. So I got 4th place last year. I got 9th pick. Oh, I'll take him at 9. Jesus, 100%. No risk there.
I don't know if we're going to be divulging too much here, but he won't be making it to 9 if he's on the board.
What do you have, Tom? What pick do you have?
8.
I finished ahead of you last year, bitch. Suck it. Suck my dick. What do you have, Nick? Number 1 because you got last place?
I got 11 because I got lost in the ship to my little brother.
yeah, damn it.
I lost to
the history. I've been in your league. I've been in your league since 2011, man. That's before I really even knew you. Before I even really knew you, I knew of you, right? Friends of the family, but I didn't really know you. I never met you in person. That's a long time. I only have like 2 or 3 championships. Remember how for that stretch I called myself I'm the fucking Bills? Yep. I had 3 straight 2nd place finishes in your league. Yep. But I think I've made the playoffs all but like 3 years in your league, but I only have 2 championships. That's kind of a microcosm of me as a fantasy player. And maybe that's not really the biggest endorsement of me in this channel. I make the playoffs every fucking year. You can pencil it in, Nico, but like I just place. I'm always like 2nd or 3rd, and that is money though. That is money.
The hard part is getting your ticket to the dance, man. That's the hard part. The rest is luck.
No, the hard part, the luck part comes in the fantasy playoffs because it's a 1 week sample.
That's
the hard part's getting there. So
not for me. I always make the fucking playoffs. That's what I'm saying. It's like I got to get the luck part.
That's
down,
why you're
right?
a professional. You understand the hard part. You don't have the luck part.
I'll get it. Yeah, I met Erica. My wife's awesome. I got lucky there. And I
And
got
she
you
gets
two
hard.
fine gentlemen on the show. You know what I mean? Like I got lucky here with all you guys in the community. Let's move on to the last name though, and it is Brian Thomas, wide receiver 32. Tom, is it a Parker Washington thing? Because fuck that. Is this a crowded room situation? Is this a hate on Trevor Lawrence? Why do you hate Brian Thomas so much?
So it's a little bit of everything, honestly. You know, how much does Jacksonville feel the need to feature their number 2 overall pick that they kind of mortgage their future for in Hunter? How much is he going to play? They made the trade last year for Jacoby Myers, and he's been a solid guy at what he does consistently. Strange has proven to be a relatively consistent and safe tight end. And then you kind of hit on it, the Parker Washington breakout. You can't put that cat back in the bag. He's out there, right? And I can hear it now. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. broke out his rookie year, blah, blah, blah. Well, I will counter argument that with the fact that the quarterback that he broke out with isn't on the team, isn't throwing him the ball. Mac Jones was the one that saved Brian Thomas's year that year. And he was having a solid year. But in 10 games with T-Law, 37, 607, and 5, 133 fantasy points in PPR. 7 games with Mac Jones, 50 catches, 675, and 5, 150 points. So 53% of his points came in 42% of the season with Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence does not love to throw to the outside, and that's pretty much what we can project to be, Brian Thomas's role. Everyone else is going to be kicking into the slot, a lot of.
Well, they just said it. They came out with the report that he is playing X, which is nice for his snap share. But you're mentioning the role. The role is the issue because it doesn't match up with Trevor Lawrence and what Liam Cohen wants to do.
Nope, not even a little bit. I mean, you go back and Christian Kirk had 133 targets that year that he got to Jacksonville, and he cracked 1,200 yards. Evan Ingram had a 144 target season with 114 catches. Like, there is that too. But the only notable outside receiver that did anything worth a damn in Jacksonville under T-Law's tenureship as quarterback was Calvin Ridley, and he barely cracked 1,000 yards. And for all intents and purposes that year, Ridley was a bust. I don't think the system is conducive. Doesn't mind throwing to the outside. He just sucks at it. Well,
that's the truth. Yeah, he just sucks at it. So then he's kind of scared to do it. So shout out Who Hames. You're the man. Check out his channel. Go ahead, Tom.
I mean, Who Hames put the nail in the coffin to it. I mean, it's all of those things. It's the fact that he's not. I mean, again, like we said, snap share is going to be great, but he's going to be a poor man's Alec Pierce this year, just running wind sprints. He's going to be that downfield shot. He's going to be very boom and bust, and it's not going to be a guy that I'm relying on in any sort of capacity outside of maybe a bye-week fill-in flex, and that's if I get him because I don't want to pay this price for him.
I don't think there's ever been a better – we always hear this saying, and it's kind of a cop-out, better in best ball. Like, there's never been a better in best ball player more than Brian Thomas. That being said, wide receiver 32 is pretty fair for a guy that we were taking at pick 13 last year. And, yes, I understand that he was hurt. He was bad. And it's sad that it happened during Trevor Lawrence's breakout, but let's be honest here. Trevor Lawrence's breakout, at least his fantasy breakout, was tied to those 9 rushing touchdowns. He was good through the air last year, but it still wasn't Drake May level, right? It was good, and it was Parker Washington. Please don't tell me you want Parker Washington over Brian Thomas, though, Tom. Don't go there.
No, I'm not there.
Okay.
But.
All right. Just making sure. Nico, what are your thoughts on Brian Thomas? Because wide receiver 32. This is how I've made a lot of money in my life in fantasy is I didn't have a single share. In 36 leagues last year, I did not draft Brian Thomas once. He was my number 1 fade last year because it was just easy. It was like, it was fluky. I like the player, but it's not the archetype of player that's consistent. But now we're looking at going from wide receiver 7 to wide receiver 32, and a lot of it was injury last year, but he was never going to meet that ADP. This is how you make money in fantasy, though, is because we know Brian Thomas is an elite player. He's at least an elite athlete. How about that? He's an elite athlete. And they're going to feature him but there's a lot of guys there. Travis Hunter's an X factor we didn't even mention, right? If Travis Hunter factors in, good fucking luck with Brian Thomas. You're never going to know when to start him, but he's your wide receiver 3. It's like, don't we want our wide receiver 3 to kind of be a boom bust guy, right? We don't want Jacoby Myers. I'm not saying Myers getting drafted there. We don't want a guy that's going to get me 9 points a game. I want a guy that can go off and win me a week. So what are your thoughts, Nico, on Brian Thomas? Are you in alignment with Tom's take on Brian Thomas?
So we had an argument about Brian Thomas a few weeks ago on the pod, and I was lower on him than what you thought I should be. And I went back and did a little rewatch of last year, and he had more injuries than I thought he did. But he also did not perform when he was on the field, injury or not. Your best availability is availability, and when he was available, he still wasn't running the cleanest routes. He wasn't showing up the way that he did in his rookie year, the way that I would have expected him to. I was a big Brian Thomas truther coming out of college. I liked him. He was probably my favorite receiver coming out that year, and to drop as drastically as I have on him, it kind of hurt. It kind of felt bad. So I did. I went back and I reevaluated, and I think Jacksonville is one of those teams this year that if you can figure out, even at receiver, at running back, whichever way it is, if you can figure out who the guy is, he's a league winner potentially for you, because they're all going at a value based on the one that hits, whether it's Parker or whether it's Thomas, whether it's Tootin, whether it's Rodriguez. Some of them are going to outperform their position. Just good luck figuring out which one. And like you said, if it isn't a clear one at the receiver or the running back position, you're sharing the workload, and good luck figuring out which week to play them. It's going to be a tough team to figure out. So in a flex, yeah, I'll take Thomas in a flex all day, and I'd be fine with that. But I don't want him in my starting receiver spot.
Dude, it's not just the wide receiver room. Like the report today of Quinn Allen having a locked-in receiving role, which we all knew because they trust him as a pass blocker at 21 years old. But like the running back room is murky. You know what the answer is? Brenton Strange. We should just draft Brenton Strange. We know that motherfucker's running every route at tight end, but we know that we want to buy into this offense. So it's just really weird. And real quick, guys, I just want to say I love the spirited debate in the chat regarding CMC. You know what I end every show with? Love your life, stay positive, and respect each other. You guys you're teetering on the line. It's fine. Again, this is our show, not just my show. It's all the community members. It's the guests. I love heated debates. This is what makes fantasy great, but let's just not teeter the line too much. And there was no personal attacks. You know what I like, man. And y'all big boys is all I gotta say. So actually fucking feast on each other, motherfuckers. Feast on each other. And CMC is that type of dude that's gonna cause these discussions. And then all you have is a stupid fucking San Francisco banner up behind us. I don't want to see this shit, Nico. That's why he goes to the bathroom fucking 3 times a show. A, he's old as shit, and B, he wants to show off. You know what? I don't see one up there. It's like 1881, 1884. Yeah. I don't see anything in a long time there, Nico. He's doing this to flex his stupid Niners. I should just take his camera off.
Simple Jack, the story of a mentally impaired farmhand who can talk to animals, was a box office disaster that many critics called one of the worst movies of all time.
Got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
You make me happy.
But now the question is, can speed...
To kind of add into your conversation in the chat, I can't bring up all the chats. We're going to go back and I'm going to do a draft after this, guys. I'm going to start a new stream in 10 minutes or so after we end, and we're going to do some underdog. But, Nico did have CMC as a fade, and that you see this fucking banner right here, right in front of us. I am not there. I am fair with ADP, but I'm not doing it without assuming the risk. We all know the risk. Like, the history is there, and they're not like repeating injuries, but they're also not fluky injuries. It's somewhere in between. It is a little concerning, and I'm going to have some CMC. I don't want to miss out on CMC, and especially with the Pearsall injury. But that's also because they're going to, Kyle Shanahan, every year he says this, I'm going to limit CMC's workload. I'm going to do this. I'm going to use this guy. He had Brian Thomas last year. He fucking didn't do it. Brian Thomas is a monster of a man. Not the greatest player, but he is a workman-like player. And that's better than what they have this year. Whether you're a Kalen Black guy or a Jordan James guy, dude, no. I think that they're going to use CMC as much as he can handle, and also to the detriment of CMC and the offense. CMC plays through injuries and doesn't like to come off the field. I think someone needs to check CMC and be like, hey man, like, can we just get you 75% of the work? Can we just give you 19 carries and 4 receptions instead of fucking 21 carries and 6 receptions? That's what he wants. And I love CMC for that, but it's not what's best for the team. It's the Josh Jacobs thing, right? Josh Jacobs wants to play through his injuries. And like by the end of the year, Josh Jacobs is a fucking corpse. It's like, dude, if you're hurt, take 1 week off against the Browns. We should win this game. Although I guess the Packers did lose that game to the Browns last year. Remember that week 2 or week 3?
Yep. Oh yeah.
All right, that's just a little rant by me. What the hell is this, dude? This is a Niners. The fuck is this, dude?
Right.
I hear you saying something about my banner when I was gone.
Yeah, I said that's why you take all these pisses so you can get up and show the banner to everybody. And I said there's 1884, 1891. You haven't won one in forever, man. When's the last time you guys won a Super Bowl?
I watched it in the 90s. It was beautiful.
In the 90s? We're 2026. You might as well be the Cowboys. I got a Cowboys fan and the Niners fan. You guys don't win for shit. You go to Super Bowl.
I was gonna try to put this thing back on the track and give a little bit more fantasy analysis, but after that Cowboys shot, I don't know.
Dude, you should be taking shots in your own team. Your owner likes glory holes, dude. Man, like you're gonna say you're a Jerry Jones, dude? Fuck,
I've been here
man.
when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
What is your projection? What is your win prediction for your team? Smitty says 49ers, baby. Nico is salving that. Tom, what is give me over under for the Cowboys? I'm pretty high on the Cowboys myself this year for the regular season.
I did a similar exercise to the one you did with the Bears, and I had them coming out with 11 wins.
Man, so that means you're down on the Eagles this year, or are both teams going to eat?
It's those two are going to be feasting at the top of the division, but we saw it for the first time since 03-04 that a team has repeated winning the NFC East, and I think a three-peat is so far out of the realm of possibilities, and I think the Cowboys are the only one that can do it. And a couple of the step backs the Eagles have taken, Cowboys fortifying their defense, retaining their pieces on offense. I think they have a shot at the division, and I think it's a better shot that they've had than the last couple of years.
Before I get to you, Nico, the nice thing about being on the Cowboys and the Eagles is just easy money, essentially, with recent history, is that the Commanders with Dan Quinn, you already have it going right now. Can you go do it, Nico? The Dan Quinn, and then Tunsil being hurt, like this team is always a mess. And then the Giants with Matt Nagy and the Neighbors shit and Jackson Dart looking like garbage. Like those two teams can be terrible. I know a lot of people like it's easy to love the Commanders this year as a bounce back because of what happened in 2024. It's easy to like the Giants with Harbaugh, who's kind of an idiot, but a professional coach in there. Jackson Dart looking good. Scatabo, like they have their defenses, their defensive line's elite. Like Nagy and Greg Roman. That's their offensive staff. Greg fucking Roman, dude.
No way. I'm out. I'm so out.
Adam Gase is like a consultant for the Chargers or something like that.
Yeah, that's an issue for sure. Yeah. But he's a consultant. He's not actually an offensive coordinator.
How does this guy keep getting a job?
Man, I
blow.
don't know.
He's selling blow to all the other coaches.
He's like a weatherman. Like it's one of those few jobs where you can be wrong most of the time and still keep it. Like
wouldn't you like to know Weather Boy?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any last thoughts before I get you guys off here? Because just so you know, we're doing a best ball. We're doing some underdog drafts after this. Got to give me 10 minutes to make a new stream and go to the bathroom and do a couple things. But in 10 minutes after the stream ends, I'm hopping on. You know what? I did 4 hours is like minimum around here these days. So why the fuck not, right? And these guys have, Nico, Tom, you're a hardworking man. You're on the East Coast. Nico is the greatest father of all time. So you got a big weekend with the daughters, right?
Oh man, always. We got a birthday party tomorrow. The wife's working in the mornings. I might take them bowling or something fun, and then my birthday on Sunday, draft day. So I'm gonna get some birthday love in our draft. Hopefully, y'all let some guys fall to me.
Should I drive you since it's your birthday so you can get hammered? Because you said you're picking me up.
Oh, I'm gonna be hammered. I'll be lucky if I can find your house.
Well, then I should drive. I want to be safe here. Like, how fucked up are you gonna be?
Oh my God, this place is amazing! Yeah. All right, and the sunblock drink? Nice, guys.
They're really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
Thing is, I didn't make you one.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Charlie, you're drinking sunblock. It's good. It gets you all. Yeah, you're ingesting viscous chemicals, and they're getting you hot. It doesn't matter.
That's gonna be you on fucking Sunday on your birthday.
Oh, dude, look out. So real quick before we get off here, 11 wins, man. Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, all 11 wins. Chicago and San Francisco are going to be wild card teams. Dallas takes the division, and I believe it's gone Niners, Dallas, Chicago in most recent Super Bowl wins. So I'll take that victory too.
Derek says they still have to wipe down. They already have to wipe down the loads. Yeah.
Hey guys, the management needs everybody to get out because they caught a guy jerking off in here, and they're going to send in a crew to wipe down the loads. Go ahead.
Do a couple things. This guy's insane. Well, I have to let my dogs out. I have to set up the stream. I want to take a 10-minute breather before I do another 2-hour stream. You know, I know this isn't hard work, but it's mentally taxing work. And I notice at the end of the night, it's my brain. Again, I have been on live for like 78 days straight. And from my calculations, with my 34 drafts I'm streaming in the starting next week on Wednesday in 17 days, and then the season starting, I'm probably not going to miss a day until like December. It's my thoughts. But hey, man, I love what I do. I love all of you guys. You guys make my fucking job great. Even the arguments in the chat, fucking love it. And two of the best in the business here. And just want to thank Nick O for getting Tom involved in this whole process. Me and Tom have been playing. When did you join the league? 5 or 6 years ago? How long has it been?
Yeah, I think this is going to be my 5th year. I think this is going to be my 5th year.
Is it?
And we've been battling, bro. We've been battling, and you know he recommended you because you guys know ball and just great person. You guys are great people, and you know football different, except for your Judkins take, which is just fucking bullshit. By the way, fucking terrible.
Well, fine. If you're going to hate,
you hit 4 out of 5.
If you're going to hate me for that one, let me at least tell you how to play Brian Thomas Jr. this year. All right, you don't draft him. You wait because his schedule goes like this: Cleveland, Denzel Ward. Denver, Patrick Surtain, New England, Gonzalez, Cincinnati, DJ Turner, Philly, Quinyon Mitchell, Houston, Stingley, and then they got the Colts with Sauce Gardner. So you wait till about week 6, week 7. Dude's going to be on a downturn because those guys aren't traveling into the slot to cover Parker Washington. You buy the dip on Brian Thomas, and then you have him for the second half of the season.
That's why we have Tom on the show, because that's good. That's good shit right there. And
I love.
All right, and maybe we should be drafting Parker Washington. We trade Parker Washington, even though the price point is way too high on Parker right now. 5th round, 6th. What are we doing? What are we doing with that shit? It's gross. Jonathan says, "And Nick O is all right, I guess." Nick O, you know what? We had the poll for favorite co-host. You haven't been on enough shows. I feel like they don't realize you were the big football guy here for 3 years. And some of the guys miss your shows. When they get to know Nick O, like I always tell you, you're one of the best people I know. And Derek's going to see you in Texas. And I told him you guys are going to fucking love each other and probably bang. I think you're going to bang. It's my guess. I'm going to get a picture of just Nick O entering Derek. And I'm going to see that silver hair of Derek in the background. Be like, yep, that's Derek. That's Derek. He got in Derek. That's Nick O. If he wanted to, you could. You're that kind of smooth talker and that kind of individual, man.
Oh boy!
I don't mean that you're that kind of individual that would do that. I'm saying that you could if you wanted to. You could if you wanted to, because you've had many chances with me and you've always said no.
Oh, yeah, I am a loyal to my wife, happily married man. No stuffing out for gray bushes yet.
Not for dudes.
No.
Oh, hey, you must be Mr. Lefebvre.
Yeah, that's me.
Surprise! I'm all yours. I was told it'd just be one, but I can take both of you. Might get a little sore, but I'll manage.
Okay, well, I'm out of here. Wait, what?
Hey, where you going? Lefebvre's into banging little Asian boys, so we're done, right?
No, look, if we're gonna do this thing, we need to see things through.
Dennis, are you gonna have sex with a tiny Asian boy?
I'm gonna see how far I can go. Are you with me?
No, I'm going to leave now.
Let's kick things up a notch.
So only the ones to the clubs?
Yeah, you're a caddy. Clubs. This is a golf. Good.
We had such a serious show, dude. Such good insight. And, I'll be damned if I leave a Fanatics podcast without letting it go completely off the fucking rails. Nick Owen still has his Dan Quinn hat going on here, which is awesome. And before I leave you guys, I do owe a chug. I want to get this done now. And I'm going to see if I can beat myself. Let's see. And that means two things. Man, I'm slow right now. Here we go. I'm going to see if I can beat myself. This is a full brewski. Here we go. Busch Light, easy chugger. All right. Who you taking? Me or the other me?
The other me. You don't have a chance. You're out of touch, man.
Here we go. Who won?
You started early. Your timing was off.
Well, it's hard. I have to time it off. Whatever.
I know.
All right. This was great. And I'm going to see all you guys in the chat if you want to come over and draft some teams with us in 10 minutes. Tom, right. Nico, Goats, great stuff. I'm going to see you on Sunday. Tom will be drafting against you on Sunday. I'll probably be taking Quinshon Judkins. So
you should. You're right behind me. Go for it.
I know you're not going to take him now. It's nice. Yeah, that's why I have you guys in the show. So I know in our leagues, I didn't give you my players, so I know I could just wait on Judkins. I'm not going to get sniped.
Yeah, that's it. Now you can sit and wait. I appreciate you guys so much, dude. Such a fun time. Always a good conversation. Jonathan is more than all right. He's a gentleman and a scholar, and we'll probably squeeze out at least 6 or 12 more trades before the season starts.
Strong possibility.
Can't wait to whip your ass in the dynasty bet you made, Tom. Appreciate that. Appreciate that donation, dude.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have the right to be a confident, almost borderline cocky fantasy player because you're the only, like I said, you're the only person in all my home leagues, and there's quite a bit of them that has a higher fucking Yahoo rating than me. Even though my record's better, my career record's better, but you have a more percentage championships.
My Yahoo rating's a dumpster fire.
You also, Tom, you're also young as shit, so you don't have as much volume as I have. So give fucking props to the veteran over here, okay?
Yeah, you've been in the trenches. I can respect that.
Just like Nico and Derek are gonna be in the trenches when you see
great Busch trenches.
All right. I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Everyone in the chat, the supers, everyone else. Ryan for signing up. We'll talk to you guys soon. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other. I'm out.
Thanks for tuning in.